Hey, listen, it's the Hangar Hangout episode 26. I apologize for the delay. Me and Wesley were chopping it up, you know what I'm saying? Going through Ari stream a little bit, just having a conversation. I think you guys are in for a treat tonight, you know what I'm saying? Being able to go ahead and talk to Wesley, talk Jets football. And again, if you're part of the Fire team, you have the link in our Discord. If you need me to send it to you again, let me know. You're going to be able to go ahead and jump on for a little bit and talk to Wesley as well. Look, the Jets are 2-2. They're 2-2 right now. The AFC East literally is in shambles. You see the Bills take a major loss against the Ravens. The Patriots, well, we weren't really worried about them. The Dolphins look like a shell of what we were expecting them to be. AFC East is wide open. And now we're hearing Devontae Adams is potentially going to be a New York Jet. It's going to be a fun night. It's going to be a fun night. And don't forget, if you want to go ahead and get your entry into tonight's giveaway, we are doing a Garett Wilson rookie autograph jersey. The rules to get in are on the YouTube description link. It's only for those watching on YouTube that can go ahead and pretty much participate. So if you're on Twitter right now, if you're on Instagram, I urge you to go ahead and just log off real quick, jump on YouTube, subscribe, and then you can go ahead and follow the rules to enter into tonight's giveaway. We're going to be doing a spin. Again, for my Fire team members, I've already got y'all plugged in. Every single one of y'all have been plugged in for your individual slots as Fire team members. So special shout out to E-Boogie, Vero Beach, New York Jets, Wolf of Gotham, Jason Edwards, Knob Deep, Infrared Jets, and Proud New York Jets fan. Your entries have already been implemented. It's going to be a good time tonight. It's going to be a good time tonight. Again, the Jets did lose, but things are looking up for the Jets. So I guess let's talk about it.
I can do it all, I will never fall. It's the Renaissance, you know that I got the mother sauce, man. You know I'm the boss, I know what it costs. Have you won a loss? I'm so versatile, yeah, I'm a Renaissance, man. I can do it all, I will never fall. It's the Renaissance, you know that I got the mother sauce, man. You know I'm the boss, I know what it costs. Have you won a loss? I'm so versatile, yeah, I'm a Renaissance, man.
Congratulations, brother.
And here we go.
Look, I'm not even going to waste a lot of time, talking about stuff. At the end of the day, you guys are here. I think a little bit of it is for me. Potentially some of it is for the jersey. But real talk, we've got freaking Wesley Walker in the building tonight. He's in the hangar. We have a Jets legend with us, first team All-Pro, two-time Pro Bowler, NFL receiving yards leader, Pro Football Writers of America all-rookie team, the New York Jets Ring of Honor. I mean, literally, we have Wesley Walker in the building. We're going to go ahead and talk Jets football with him tonight. And again, if you're part of the Fire team, the link for you guys to go ahead and jump on towards the end of this stream is, again, available to you in our Discord. Take a look at it. If you need it, shoot me a message, and I'll go ahead and make sure you guys get that. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we've got Wesley Walker. Hey, Wesley, how you doing?
How are you? It's good to talk to you after all this time. I don't even know when you reached out to me. It's been some time, many months.
It's been many months,
Yeah.
but you know what, though?
That's on me. I apologize for that.
No need to apologize. When we first talked, you told me, you know what I'm saying, your schedule was really, really tight. You know what I'm saying? I hope you enjoyed the cruise. I know you were going on a bit of a cruise as well. So we had already discussed this, so I was tracking that. Glad, you know what I'm saying, you were able to make some time for us. And honestly, I think it kind of worked out better this way because we got to see the Jets play for the first month, right? The first quarter, so to speak, of the season is already down. Currently, they're 2-2. And to me, I think this is perfect because now I can kind of go ahead and pretty much ask you, literally, how are you feeling about the 2024 Jets that have you seen so far?
Well, it's, being a former player, you're always excited. Last year was big disappointment when Aaron Rodgers had gotten hurt. And as a former athlete, you played the game, so you don't follow it as much. And I moved to Arizona going on my third year, so I don't get an opportunity to really digest and get a full sense of what's going on in the locker room, being there on Long Island or with the New York Jets. And it's hard enough when you're even there to get the full-fledged things of what are happening unless you have contacts with people. And I have different contacts. I can call beat writers to get this skinny on things. And this year, I haven't even been able to watch a game yet because of certain circumstances. I know the first game versus San Francisco, I had to get out to Long Island actually New Jersey for an appearance that I'd forgotten about, and I had to take a red eye out Monday night. So I got to the airport around 10:30, and I missed the first half, and then I saw the debacle in that second half with San Francisco. And the point being is that I have not been able to watch any of the games, and I was at the game last week, and we had a Legends weekend where guys come in for the weekend, and it's good seeing some of my old teammates. But I was with Al Toon and myself, and we had this private signing. We had to leave the game early, and I didn't even get a chance to see my family for about maybe 20 or 30 minutes before I had to leave and then get back to the airport. And the reason I'm saying this, I don't get a chance to really digest, unless you're really watching a full whole game, to see my thoughts of what's going on with the team, other than hearing or getting tidbits from people. And I have a lot of Jets fans who are friends of mine or diehard fans to get their input. And I know everybody's just always excited. And I always tell them, man, don't get your heads up or too far ahead and drinking the Kool-Aid sometimes. But it's a long season. It's still early, and they're 2-2. And like you were saying in your intro, that division is wide open. And I look at Miami with the quarterback being hurt. They're wishy-washy right now. There is no one team, when you talk about parity, that I can see that's been at the forefront. I mean, you can look at Kansas City. They're not winning games by a lot. I mean, it's could go back and forth. So it's anybody's game right now. And the Jets have an opportunity. But there's been some disappointments from what I'm seeing right now, offense and defense. And the first game, I was really disappointed with the defense, and not even on the effort. It's just you expected more because they've been a great defense for the last 2 or 3 years. And to see them the way they're playing, they just don't seem to be in sync. The offense is a different story. I've never been crazy about Paul Hackett's son, Nathaniel. And Nathaniel, I used to babysit him when I was in college. His dad was my coach in college, and I remember having him up in New Hampshire on my chest as baby, and here he is, the coach of the New York Jets. But I feel like they're a vanilla and a chocolate type of offense, and the type of guys, when you look at a Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers, for that matter, I expect more, and I expect them to get better, but it's been a disappointment so far. I don't know if it's just in sync, and they're talking about even the cadence right now, and there was penalties and just a movement, offsides, whatever. But those are things that happened in the beginning, and you have to look at the overall aspect of it. They still haven't played together for a long time, so it's really new to them. So I'll give them that. But being that said, Aaron Rodgers, being the caliber athlete that he is and what he brings to the table, I was just, and especially Garrett Wilson, I love this guy. I was expecting more, and I know he can't be too thrilled or happy. And as a New York Jet myself, playing 13 years for the Jets, I did not get the ball like I wanted to. I was very frustrated. I can say it now since I retired, but I wish I could have complained. I wish I could have been more vocal about it, but I was never happy because I didn't get the opportunities. And you have a guy in Garrett Wilson who is a stud and not getting the opportunities. He has to be seething right now. So I know it's early right now. They have to get back in sync and get going. I just don't have the answers of what's going on because I'm not there to get a privy to what's going on in that locker room. But I kind of get information from some guys that I can depend on or whatever. But we'll just have to give it some time.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, again, you brought up Garrett Wilson, right? I love that because actually I'm kind of curious as to what's going on. So you know what those locker rooms are like. You know what I'm saying? You know the expectations of being a wide receiver in this league, and of course, as a New York Jet. Now, Wilson has had a slow start. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. You're starting to see him make comments about the team's offensive identity. He's frustrated, and understandably so. He's our current number one wide receiver. Why do you think him and Rodgers are still not on the same page? And how can they get back to the play we all saw? How can he get back to the play we all saw from him the last couple of years?
Well, I think it's, has to do a lot with coaching. And like I said, I think they're kind of vanilla and chocolate. There's not much creativity. And I know Rodgers is probably running the show, but I haven't been impressed, even though, Nathaniel is, I loved his father as a coach, and I love him as a person, but you got to be critical at a certain time to call a spade. But I think that has a lot to do with it, the play calling. And sometimes as players, and you know what you can bring to the table, it's not necessarily how good you are, it's how they want to use you, how they want to feature you. So I don't know enough about Nathaniel Hackett, but knowing that you have some caliber athletes there, like a Brees Hall and a Garrett Wilson, you have to figure out how to get them the ball. It's not necessarily Aaron Rodgers, it's Aaron too, but it's the offensive set. So if you're not being featured or you're not being targeted, that's a whole nother deal in itself. And you can only do what you can by the opportunities. And I know that firsthand. And I felt during my career, I could have doubled my numbers. Number one, it has to be, you have to stay healthy. But if you get the opportunities, you can produce. If you don't, you got to look at that. And then the question is, you got to look at, why is he not getting the opportunity? So that would be my question.
Okay.
And that would be my question to Nathaniel Hackett, because he's running the show supposedly along with Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron has to let me know, why are they not getting or featuring Garrett Wilson at this time? And it's not just one guy, too, because those other guys on that team, Wesley Walker didn't do this thing by himself. Unless you're clicking on all cylinders with everybody doing their job, I don't care who you are, Aaron Rodgers, it's not going to get done.
Okay, so again, I love how you're kind of helping me out here with the questions I wanted to ask you tonight, because this was on my heart and I want to kind of get your opinion on it. We took obviously a terrible loss against the Denver Broncos at home, right? There were 8-point favorites for that freaking game.
Yep.
It was at home. We had 9 days to prepare. There was zero excuse. It's an AFC freaking game. You need this win. You want to go ahead and stack these up now, because again, down the road, you don't know what's going to happen. I can't find a single reason other than coaching as to why we lost that game. So how do you feel about this coaching staff, and can the Jets still be contenders in spite of them if necessary?
Well, they won't be contenders if they keep playing like this. And I was speaking to a good friend of mine, and he's the type of guy, hey, the Jets are going to the Super Bowl. I heard Stephen A. Smith, Aaron Rodgers, the way he looked, they're Super Bowl contenders. Now you look at this debacle, they won't go anywhere looking like that. And they have to really look at themselves, not only as players, but the coaching staff, And I can, as a fan or somebody outside looking, from the outside, we're not privy to what goes on in that locker room. And coaches, they're not going to disclose what's going on with the media. And sometimes there are little things that can come out, because I think it came out with the cadence, and Salah had said something we have to look at, and I think maybe Rodgers maybe taking a little bit offensive to that, and he's been probably calling plays or signals for the longest of time the same, and that shouldn't change. And now they're not going to change anything, but you can nitpick at a lot of different things. But the bottom line is, they have to figure out what direction they're going, what identity they are, because we do not know, because they came out and beat Buffalo, so the potential is there. We have some guys that are missing, and Reddick's not here, and Mosley's hurt. Injuries is a big key, a big factor, but this is the NFL. You got to be able to pull some strings, and regardless of what excuse you have, you got to perform. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm not going to look at any one player. I'm looking at the team, and that includes the coaching staff. But right now, I've never felt, even when the Jets were doing well the last 2 or 3 years, just the vanilla and chocolate. And when you have athletes that are capable of superstardom, like a Brees Hall, and you can't figure out how to get them on the ball consistently, and to feature them and put them in positions so they can be successful. And a lot of coaches, you have to play within their system. And I'm a really great example of this. I was always known as the deep threat, right? And they'd have Al Toon as the short guy or whatever. Both of us could do either one. I could go from the slot wide, but it's the system that are coaches that you have to abide by. And I never was the type, I go along with the system. I wasn't a Keyshawn Johnson. I wasn't a Terrell Owens who can be vocal, and maybe I could have been, but you disrupt the team that way. But I've never felt that some coaches would even look to their players for suggestions. What could help to make you better? I know what I could bring to the table, what could be happening. One time in my entire career, I made a suggestion to the coaches. I can read coverages. If they do this, I don't care what it is, I could counteract it with a pattern and run it. And I'll be damned, my coordinator, my coach Dan Henney at the time, and John Isaac was coordinator. We tried it out in practice. Next thing I know, they put it on the game plan. And it was unfortunate. I had like 110 yards, I think, before the second quarter was getting started, doing this, just being able to read routes and doing something. And then I got knocked out by this guy, Mike Rainfeld, and tore my knee up, and I was lost for the season. And I was ahead of my pace the year I had that big All-Pro year, and I averaged like 24.7 a catch, and I was actually leading the league at 25.7, and I got knocked out. But they put me in a situation to use me properly. That's what I question right now. You cannot tell me you cannot figure out a way to take athletes like a Breece Hall, like a Garrett Wilson, and you have Aaron Rodgers, how to get the ball. But there's some coordinators out there, they're just vanilla and chocolate, and there's just no creativity. And there are press people out there saying the same things. But I won't be critical to the point where the season's over. But they got to find a way to correct that. And this is about winning. And now you're starting to see, you start finger pointing. And that's what happens in the locker room, whether it's the coaches or the players, and somebody makes a comment, then the coach may be getting offended. And as a coaching staff, you got to prevent that. And that's where you got to be on the same page. And I don't know where the team is at from that retrospect. But hopefully they'll identify the problems. And like I said, that division is so topsy-turvy. There's no one Super Bowl contender team. I mean, anybody can be beat, but it's up for grabs right now.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so then I'm pretty sure you're hearing about this whole Davante Adams situation, right? Earlier today, Davante Adams was on the Kate Adams show. He spoke fondly about freaking playing with Aaron Rodgers, about how he is playing with Aaron Rodgers. She asked about the tweet from Antonio Pierce about him liking a story where he was being traded. He seemed nonchalant about it and kind of standoffish. He said, you know what, he hasn't talked to the coach. A few hours later, it's publicly known that the Raiders are shopping Davante Adams around. A few hours after that, Davante Adams says, you know what? I want to request a trade. I think the New York Jets are the favorites to land this guy, and I think this goes back to like last season. I don't think this is new for us. I think last season, Joe D and the staff already kind of had it in their minds they were going to try to bring Davante Adams to the building. Now, Davante Adams last season just had 108 catches, 1,144 yards, and he added 8 touchdowns. And this was from Aiden O'Connell throwing him the ball, not necessarily an elite guy. The dude still got it. He's 31 years old. Do you see him becoming a Jet? And if so, could, again, a guy like a Davante Adams with Aaron Rodgers, you got Allen Lazard in the building, who Aaron and Lazard seem to be on the same page. Can an addition like that kind of help overcome some of these potential coaching deficits that we're going to have to deal with as we compete with some of the real contenders in the NFL?
Oh, I think it definitely will help if you can get it done. But whether they can get it done, it comes down to money and contracts, trying to work the deal out. Joe Douglas has done a fantastic job. But again, I don't know the whole ramifications of him being traded, if the team really wants to or not. And when rumblings start and you start making comments and the team and you have this discord, he could be shopping around, but he may go to another different team. I know the Jets would be a contender, but would they make it work in order to get him? And right now it comes down to dollars and cents. I just don't know if they'll be able to get that done. And I hate to say this, if another team can pay you a lot more money, well, then again, you never know too, because he may want a chance to win, because I think players pick teams sometimes of the success of a team where they have more of a chance to get to say the Super Bowl or so.
Right.
But it comes down to dollars and cents if they can make it worth your while. But most players, they'll go to a last place team if the money was right, But I don't know if the Jets can get that done, if they're going to be serious enough to really get that done. But I would like to think they would be in consideration for it because he is a stud. And you talked about his numbers. That's low for him.
Facts.
I would die to have that many catches myself. And he's on a losing team, and he's got to be very frustrated. So I'm sure he'll be more than willing to come to the New York Jets with Aaron Rodgers and try to turn this thing around.
Man, I know right now every Jets fan is currently watching their Twitter feeds and keeping an eye on any kind of breaking news because I hope it winds up being the case. I do believe that an addition like a Devontae Adams could significantly assist Aaron Rodgers in the faster development of getting this offense going. Because, again, you see Aaron Rodgers and Alan Lazard, same page. Those guys haven't missed a beat.
Hey, well, it helped Garrett Wilson right now, too.
100%.
And when I was playing, too, and you triggered something, as a wide receiver, and I came in, I started right away as a rookie, and my coaches always envisioned having another speed guy like myself to match me, and that's why they drafted Lamb Jones. Unfortunately, that never materialized because of either injury with both of us, or Lamb had all this ability, but he lost a lot of confidence. He didn't have a coaching like I had, and that makes all a bit different. If you have coaching and somebody knows what you can do. I told Lamb Jones, if I'd have been your coach, the coaches were just dumb as far as I'm concerned. That I saw all this potential. You take a guy like that and make him work, unless he doesn't want to put the time in, and that was the problem with Lamb. He didn't develop his skills that he had, but it could be done. And I would have made him work as a coach. He'd have made me famous. But envision Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson on the same field being healthy. That's a situation where, hey, it's going to open up your running game and tight end situation, but you can't stop both of them. That's a coordinator's dream. But the big question mark to me, could Nathaniel Hackett come up with his offense that is going to fit those guys and feature them in a way they could be successful? And I don't care who you are. And people used to think Kenny O'Brien was a bust. We could have had Dan Marino, and I guarantee if Dan Marino would have came to our system and all that, he probably wouldn't have had the success he had. So it's not necessarily your ability; it's just being in the right system with the right coaching and the right features, and it's so important. And I can relate. If you have a coach that really knows you, who has confidence in it, and knows how to use you, and wants to feature, that makes all the world of difference. If you do not have it, and you have a guy that maybe brought his own guys in, or he's not really, doesn't want to take any suggestions, and he wants to fit you into a system that really does not work. And that's what I find with a lot of coaches. People don't even know. You have coaches that have never even played the position and are telling you what to do, and you want to laugh at that. And I remember when we lost our coach, Dan Henning, they put our special teams coach as the wide receivers coach. And one of the rules he had, we couldn't wear hats in our meeting in a little dorm and chew gum. And so we all wore hats and chewed gum, which is totally ridiculous. But the point being, you just can't put guys, I don't care how good you are, if you do not have the proper coaching, it's not going to happen either. So you have to have qualified people. And you look at some of the Super Bowl teams over the years, and I look at San Francisco, they had like all pro players in different positions. They had a great coaching staff. I look at Bill Belichick. Belichick didn't do it by himself without those players and good coaching. You start losing some of those people, both sides, coaching and players, it just doesn't happen. But you have to have quality players, and that's the big question mark for me right now as a coach. And I like Robert Saleh. He's a defensive guy. I don't think he does anything offensively. I just don't know. And you have Aaron Rodgers there, but is Aaron Rodgers doing this by himself? But to me, they should be just much more better and progress so much better. Even though they didn't have a great quarterback in Wilson, I'm looking at Sam Darnold right now. He's starting out. He's in the right situation. Maybe Wilson gets in the right situation. He could start. It's just getting the right opportunity with the right system and the right person who wants to try to feature in the right way. And a lot of fans don't know that sometimes that just doesn't exist. And I'm a player that I've never bitched and moaned. The Jets in systems, they didn't use Wesley Walker to the best of his ability or things that I could do. Or they may label you to say you couldn't do this, you couldn't do that, and you know what you can do, but it's not up to me. And I have to go along with the program. And I wasn't one of these persons who are vocal and cause any problems. But right now, I think about the career that I could have had if given the opportunities. And sometimes you just don't get that. And that's all I'm saying. I hope that Devontae Adams becomes a Jet. I think a team would be foolish to get rid of him. Sometimes teams they get mad at what you're saying. They may put feelers out there, and then you get an attitude, and you're not performing. And sometimes they'll hold that over your head and not trade you to keep you just to punish you. So whether they want to do that or not, I just hope they can make it happen. But I just hope it doesn't go to another team and it goes to the Jets. And he'd be just a great addition, being that he stays healthy, because if he doesn't stay healthy, where are you at then? And that could happen at any time. And that's why athletes have to get what they can while they can. And it's hard to stay healthy. And you're talking about a guy that missed a lot of games, and I'm sitting here, surgeries. I can't even run anymore. I used to run like a deer. I'm barely walking right now. So I know what it takes, but it's not just you. It takes a collective effort on everybody, coaches, players, organization included. And sometimes organizationally, people upstairs, they don't have a clue.
Wow. Okay, well, I think one thing we can all agree on, right, is this Jets defense. You brought up how Coach Saleh is more of a defensive guy, right? And I'm hearing everything you're saying in regards to how it has to be a collective. What I'm saying? The coaches need to know how to properly utilize the skill players, the weapons they have at their disposal. I'm with you. I don't know if we really have that specifically on the offensive side of the football. Again, after this past Sunday, I think the majority of the Jets fans are fed up with what appeared to us to be nonsense, because we could all see what they should be doing and they weren't doing it. The simplest thing ever to me was the Braylon Allen situation, where on the 1 yard line, you give that freaking big dog the ball. It just to me seemed like the smart thing to do. They didn't do it. I digress. But when it comes to the defensive side of the football, we know they know defense. I'm gonna give them that. The last 2 years, the New York Jets have had a top 3 unit.
Yep.
This season, we saw a lot of changes coming to the defensive line, which is, I think, a key component to their defensive success. So we lost Huff. We lost JFM to other teams. JJ, unfortunately, the freaking injury. Reddick is currently a holdout. Most likely will never take a snap for the New York Jets. But we have seen guys like Will McDonald, just look great thus far, right? I think he's third right now in sacks, although he was criminally underutilized this past weekend. Again, I digress. What do you think this defense's ceiling can be without a talent like a Reddick? And what do you think it could be with a talent like a Reddick?
Well, they can be successful both ways. And no matter with or without Reddick, they're going to have to perform. That's the bottom line. Now, it's going to be telling in the next couple of weeks because they're going to play a lot better teams. And that's what's so disappointing when you're playing teams that you should win, and you can never take any team lightly. I learned that when I think it was my rookie year. We were 3-11, and the Saints had never even won a game. They had fans with bags overhead, call them the Aints, and we lost to them. And it taught me you cannot take any game lightly. Injuries are a big factor. But I think when you get to this level, you're going to have to face the facts. You're going to have to play without players. People have to do their jobs. I have a lot of respect for Saleh. I know Rex Ryan criticized him a couple years ago that he didn't have the top-tier defense being in San Francisco, and that may well be true. But you can't go out there and play for the players. They have to perform. And it's going to be telling, I think, in these next couple of weeks. And people don't really realize, and it's just hard for me to even fathom, they've added on games. They're playing 17 games. You can go out to London. You can play on Thursday night game, not getting rest. And it's not physically healthy to be healthy going into games. But everybody's on that same level. I still think that the Jets, because it's still early, and sometimes you just have to make certain adjustments, and it's not easy because those guys get paid on the other side too, and they study. And I don't care how good you are, and the better you are, people start to focus in on you, and they try to define what you do well, and they will try to counteract it on offense or defense and stop that. So it's not going to be easy. That's why you have to prepare every week. You have to do your job, and it's very hard when you don't have the guys that you're counting on that may be injured, and that's why your backups or whoever's in there, they got to perform. There's no excuses for that. I think it's still early. And you know, I looked at San Francisco and I was so disappointed with the defense, but I will give them, it's still early. It's no different than being on offense. They haven't been together. Defense is a little bit better. They have some new guys, but still, it's every year is just new. And I just don't know where they are offense, defense from an identity standpoint, but they're going to have to wake up. I think this last game was a wake-up call. It could have went either way. All teams are in the same boat right there. There is no gimmicks in the NFL. If I had to pick a Super Bowl team or who's going to go there, I have no idea who that's going to be. We had these picks where we thought were going to be good. I can pick out every team in the league who you thought were going to be on that top tier. I mean, Ravens lost a couple of games early. You know, Kansas City has been winning, but they have never stormed more than anybody.
It's been ugly.
They're getting people hurt too. Yep. It is a long team. There's so many things that can happen. So I'm just hoping. I know what was it? You know, Joe Walton used to say, you know, winning is a habit, and so is losing can become a habit. So they got to keep from getting into that funk and that losing mentality. So it's going to be really telling in these next couple of weeks, and from a physicality, traveling, you know, and playing on Thursday and just not getting the rest and having to prepare. That is so tough. And I would hate to be a coach. I don't even know how to prepare. And they have guys in the analytics and the computers and system, but the teams prepare months for other teams and, you know, way before and trying to, you know, get the skinny on other teams. I don't know how you do that effectively when you have to concentrate on the game itself that week. But that's the NFL, and you got to be prepared every week, and you just have to be ready, and you can't have any letdowns. But unfortunately, that's what happens in this league. And there is parity. There is no one team that can guarantee you to win. I've tried to pick teams in this little play fantasy thing. I haven't been right yet on one of them, you know. So I'm, you know, if I had to pick some teams, I tell people, whatever I pick, just pick the opposite way. But I can't tell you what's going to happen with the Jets. But I know they are capable. That's the point I'm trying to make. But you just don't know when it comes to staying healthy, losing key people, and then getting into that either confident, winning, or losing mode. So that's up to the coach to really try to get them out of that and stop the finger pointing and stop some of the things that are happening now and get on the same page. But if they don't get that done and nipped in the bud, and like I said, they have to find a way to get Brees and Garrett, and I'm sure if Devontae Hall's here, but they have Williams on that other side that showed a little something this week, and they just got to find a way to win. And that's it. And that's every week. When you got to do that every week, and they're capable of doing that.
I mean, again, I think you nailed it. At the end of the day, it boils down to execution. I think the talent is there. You know what I'm saying? And I know we've got some concerns about the coaching aspect. But you know what? I watched Peyton Manning drag Adam Gase to a Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl. And I'll sit here and be the first to say I don't think Adam Gase was the genius they were claiming him to be, right?
Well, so that's a perfect example. I have no idea. And I was just talking to I forgot who I was talking to, a friend of mine. He brought up Adam Gase, the worst coach the Jets ever had, besides Richie Kotite.
Yeah.
I hate to say
Trash.
that, and I don't like bashing anybody, but there are coaches out there, you don't know, how did they get there in the first place? I have no idea. And then when you have friends that you've known who brought something to the table and you have confidence in them, and then they change as people, and I've watched people and guys I've even played with, coach with, Herman Edwards, Paul Hackett, and watch them change as people, you know, and they weren't the same guy. And I think that affects them sometimes. Joe Walton was a typical example. He was great as a coordinator, and but when he became head coach, there's so many different pressures, He tried to control every aspect. Richie Kotite had the title of being a coordinator. He never called a play. He just went over personnel. And I don't know how he became head coach. And I'm not trying to bash that. But a lot of the public don't know the whole confines of what goes on when people are hired, what their positions are, what their duties are as a team. But all I know is you have to have quality people at damn near every position.
Yep.
And if you don't, those are the things. And right now, I'm not so sure. Do the Jets have those personnel people to really feature to help these guys win? Because coaching, it's a team. I can't tell you how important. If you have a guy that is really knows what he's doing, man, you're just, there's so much more confidence and more success you can have. But if you have somebody that really does not know and can't even motivate you, and you're just kind of going through the motions, how do you bring that and cross that over to the football field on a consistent basis? So that's the question I have right now. Do they have that kind of personnel within that building? And that's something, as a former player, I wish I knew that, and I wish I was a part of that locker room so I know the real stories. And a lot of people didn't know with our team what our players were really like.
Right.
The things that we were going through, the petty jealousy within teammates, not being together on a team, and then you got to go play a football game together. And you wish everybody was on the same page. I don't know the New York Jets. I don't know what Aaron Rodgers is with this team. All I know is when I watched that Hard Knocks show, he was bringing people together, and it's something I felt we never had. And I was looking forward, sitting down. I don't even watch football half the time. I'm looking forward to it. My wife goes to the kitchen, gets him. He's knocked out in 4 plays. I'm like, you're not going to believe this, And that affected our whole season, but I just expected much more. But they still were able to perform. We just had some problems with certain areas in the quarterback situation, obviously. But it can be done. I just question whether they have the coaching staff to be able to overcome the injuries and the problems that you're going to come across in the course of a year, for a Jets football season in order to get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what it boils down to, right, is the fact that you're right. I think you said it beautifully. If you have a guy who's confident and knows what he's talking about, he brings value. I think he eases the game up a little bit for everybody else. He's that voice of calm. It's extremely frustrating when you look at it in terms of head coaching. I actually did a preview video of the Jets versus the Broncos. The only advantage the Broncos had, in my opinion, was in the coaching room, right? I think you got to give Sean Payton the
absolutely.
hat.
Absolutely.
And that was enough. Literally the only advantage they had across the board. If you broke down the position groups, it was in coaching. And sadly, that was enough for us to catch an L in our own house. It's beyond frustrating.
You look at two, and they're. I mean, I just didn't look at Denver as been a great football team, and the thing is, the Jets still could have won, and the team can't go out and kick the field goal. The weather condition is not up to you. You have to be able to perform, but those things happen, and winning and losing is just so a small window. Just a play or just making a first down could change the course of the game. And sometimes it's just like that, you just miss those plays. But I think it's, with that experience, it will help them down the road once they get in that position again. But I also feel like if you do have a coach, and I always tell people and kids, if a coach is somebody that, because you're already pretty good once you get to that level. But when a coach can elevate your play and make you better, that's coaching. And if you get a coach, there's some coaches that, man, they kind of demotivate you and they don't make it better. You're just going through the motions. They're not teaching you something. And I can honestly tell you, as a former player, I had one coach that I had some great coaches. You work on drills and you do the little thing. But I had one coach that taught me something that I went to another level. And that's coaching to me. And I've only had 2 coaches in my life to do that. And that was my coach in high school, because he also saw something in me and gave me the opportunities and featured me at different positions on the field, whether it be running back, receiver, running punt returns, because he knows I have this ability. So it's somebody that had confidence in you and could know how to use you to bring your talent out. That is a coach. And on a pro level, I only had one of those. And I'm not trying to mock the coaches, but that's just the way it is. And you look at your career, my biggest fault, as far as me, disappointing, not staying healthy, which cost me some games and opportunities. And I didn't get the opportunities these guys get. I would be thrilled to get 108 catches. I mean, Al Toon would be getting that. I used to rip it. You give me that many catches, I'm gonna get more touchdown yards or whatever. I would get half that and get just as many yards or touchdowns or more, you know. But it's very, very frustrating. But like I said, they have the opportunity to correct all these things. They have to look themselves in the mirror and also evaluate themselves. And I hope that this coaching staff can really do that. A lot of coaches can't do that. They can't look themselves in the eye, and they'll make excuses. You don't want to blame the coaches. The players have to look themselves too. But sometimes during the course of the season, you know what the real truth is, and you want to be vocal about it. You want to say, and you can't say. It's very frustrating. So the point being, I'm trying to say, I don't know what's going on in that locker room. I don't know all the details of some of the problems they may be having. And you're not going to get the truth from the coaches or players sometimes, because you have to be quiet and you have to go along as status quo. There's a lot of things that we always wanted to say and couldn't say. And if you do say something where it comes out, it creates friction among the whole organization, and it's a problem. But the bottom line, they collectively have to find a way to really answer the questions of where they're at, evaluate themselves. How are we going to get better and correct this ship? And they got plenty of time. It's only 4 games right now. It's a long season, 13 to go, but it'll go quick. So they got to correct it.
I mean, look, the first 4 weeks have already flown by, right? Like, I
Yeah,
remember we've
that's
all
what
been
I'm
kind
saying.
of
It goes
anxiously
quick.
waiting, and it's
Yeah.
already first 4 games are gone.
Yeah.
Before I ask you the next question, I want to go ahead and give a shout out here to Sharp Instincts with a $20 super chat. Gained 4 entries into tonight's giveaway for the rookie Garrett Wilson jersey. Sharp Instincts says, Wesley, you're the best Jets wide receiver ever, and I saw Maynard, Sauer, Castor, Altoon, etc. Thanks for everything you did for us. When I close my eyes, I can still see your fingertip catches on deep bombs, and all without gloves. And of course, Semper Gumby, a fellow Marine as well. So that's from Sharp Instincts. He wanted to go ahead and give you your love, Wesley. Anything you want to go ahead and say to Sharp Instincts?
That is very humbling for me that I've over the years, you know, when I received a Ring of Honor in 212, and there was a poster they made, and on the poster said, I play this game because of the fans. And this is the funny part. I've gotten probably more respect from the fans on having somebody say that, and I so appreciate that. And I don't even know how to portray myself to people. I'm no different than you. I'm just a regular guy that can play some football. And I just appreciate what I was able to do. But Wesley Walker could have done better. I could have my best game ever. And I've had a few. And I will look at the things that I could have had, or the ball I didn't get. There's always something I could do better. I just wish I had the opportunity so I could prove to people what I could and could not do. He just mentioned some quality players. One of them was Richard Clark, my idol. I don't put myself over Al Toon or any of them. We are all great in our own way. We all bring something to the table. I can't say you're the best. Given the opportunities of any one of those players, they're going to star out, given the opportunities. But that was just the frustrating for me. I wanted the opportunities other people were getting. I just didn't have that. And plus, the dynamics of the offensive now with the passing game is changed so much. We didn't throw like that. You know, we always had a balanced attack with the running game. But I'm just thankful that I was able to accomplish what I did accomplish. But Wesley Walker still was frustrated because of injury or not putting up the numbers where it's going to get you, let's say, to the Hall of Fame or get the accolades you really deserve. Because I'll tell you what, we had some players. I think of Joe Glecko, Mark Gastineau, Al Toon, Freeman McNeil, Bruce Harper. Bruce Harper was a guy, we had an all-purpose guy. He led the league one year, should have went to the Pro Bowl, but you vote for guys around the league and it becomes a political thing. He won it for stats, but they picked this Rick Church, who was good in his own right. But here you led the league and you got aced out because of politics. And sometimes your true talent does not come out. There's a whole lot of players, and especially a whole lot of receivers that are good that I can think of. Some I played against, and even in college and high school. We all bring something to the table, and when you get to that point. And I'm just thankful I've had people that have given me those accolades, and from a fan standpoint, that it's so much appreciated and supportive, and you get that from other people. And sometimes you didn't even get that from your own team because it's a business. It's what you've done for me lately. A lot of politics involved, and some things are out of your control. But I so appreciate people who have supported me over the years, and I try to support them back in any way that I can.
Man, I appreciate you. Appreciate your sharp instincts. I hope, Wesley, kind of answered your question or acknowledged your comment there. All right, you said some pretty awesome stuff there, Wesley. You were talking about, your plethora of years in the league and, of course, what you've seen over time. So you were drafted to the New York Jets in 1977. I think it was the early second round pick 33. I think it was an early second round pick 33.
Yeah, that bummed me out.
Did you happen to take note of what wide receivers were drafted ahead of you?
There's a little story behind that too, and then one of the stories I found out from because I'm writing a book.
Okay.
And I wanted my quarterbacks, and I didn't know who I wanted to write the forward, and Dan Henney is one of those, and he had told me a story. But when I got drafted, they were saying I was going to be a first round draft choice, and I had just come off a game my senior year, like almost, I think I had 289 yards, and I had my coach, what's all-star game you want to play in, and East-West Ryan game, all this stuff, and my coach was going to coach the Japan Bowl, want to know which one I might be considered. Hey, I'm just trying to get through tomorrow, let alone trying to figure out what I'm going to do, and I'm supposed to be this number one draft choice. And so, I wasn't supposed to play in this game due to injury, but I went in anyway because my backup wasn't doing his job, and it was against USC. Went up for a bad ball. I remember Dennis Thurman, as my leg got planted, I could see it. It hit me right in the edge. My leg was planted. I ended up tearing my lateral ligament, had to get surgery. And you see guys get hurt, but I never thought about, I wasn't invincible. Never felt that way, but I never thought I'd be the one getting surgery in my senior year. And I had the NFL saying I was still going to be a number one draft choice. So when the draft came, and I was a track runner so I ran track, and that really kept me really in good shape and helped me with my football career, as a youngster. And so I was able to develop, rehab the knee, and get back to running speed wise. The draft comes, and I'm looking forward to it. And back then they didn't have the big hoopla that goes on today. You get a simple phone call. I didn't get that early phone call, and I knew that was going to happen. And so I'm waiting. The New Orleans calls me, said they're just starting the second round. You're going to be our choice. And then when I get the call, and I'm thinking it's the New Orleans Saints, and I'm excited because Chuck Muncie, a running back from Cal, which he was my teammate, was drafted there. So I'm looking forward. I'll be with him. And that would have probably been a bad thing because he loved to party, and I like to party too. And I'm thinking it's New Orleans call, and it's Connie Carberg-Nicholas who calls me from the Jets, and that was history. But my coach tells me when I came into camp, they didn't know I was blind. And also, they drafted Marvin Powell, who was a 5-time All-Pro tackle. He had loose knees. So the owner was pissed that he just drafted the number one tackle with loose knees, and he's got this receiver, not only with a bum knee, but can't see out of one eye. And nobody knew about my blindness, right? So it's the first time I kept it all through elementary school,
college, everything.
Nobody really knew. And I thought it was going to keep me from playing sports, but nobody really checked my eyes. You could read the eye chart, and some people know, but as long as you can run and catch the ball, nobody gave a crap.
Nobody questioned it.
So when I got to the Jets, they find out I'm blind. And so my coach says the organization, Leon, got really pissed off and didn't want to sign me. But he said, you got to see this guy. I just worked him out with Richard Todd and Pat Ryan. And then he came into mini camp. He's caught everything doing this and that. And and even Dan Henning was high on Stanley Morgan, who got drafted by the Patriots. So he had come off the board. And he didn't even know who I was. But this Harlem back said, I got a guy for you, meaning me. And so I started running and catching balls, and they signed me to a contract right away, and that's history. But Leon Hess did not want to sign me because of the blindness. So they started getting together as a team because of these injuries. Before doing pre-physicals, they would fly people in, and then it didn't become cost effective as teams started getting together, and it was costing too much. So they started the combines. But the combines got started because of myself and Marvin Powell during that time, because they felt like, and they do all these things. That's another thing. They can measure your hands and do all these things. You're like a slave out there or something, check your teeth, whatever. And I don't get it. That don't mean you can play football because you ran 4.3. How many 4.3 guys have come in there and start out? I had the opportunity to announce the second round drafter, Stephen Hill, and I thought he was big like Al Toon. And where is he? Devin Smith comes in. I thought, I'm looking at film in college. He looked like me. Where is it? It don't mean a thing unless you can project and portray that onto the football field. And it just don't happen sometimes. And we used to miss out on number one draft choices. But sometimes you get on a free agent. And Bruce Harper was a free agent. But you got to perform. But I'm very thankful I was able to do what I did. And I thank God, from the grace of God, because I don't know how he gave me the ability to do this with one eye. And I know Bobby Jackson, we talk all the time. He said, man, I'd like to see any receivers. You should be in the Hall of Fame to see him with one eye. I don't even know how you do it. There's receivers out there to see with two eyes and can't do what you do. But I've just been thankful. And by the grace of God, we talked about that before, my faith is number one. And that's the only reason I'm here, that I've been able to serve others. And I had the career that I had. And God knows it could have been better. But I could have probably been doing certain things to make me better, but not seeing what I need to see. And you can't do it over. I wish I could. I would have corrected some things. But I'm thankful for the blessings that the good Lord has just bestowed on me and my family and the people that I'm trying to influence in a positive way.
Hey, listen, at the end of the day, that's all you can do, right? You go ahead and kind of take those weaknesses, take the opportunities, and you make the best out of them. And let's be honest, you've certainly done that, throughout your lifetime.
Yep, I try. The one thing, though, and it's it's really close to my heart right now as I'm getting older, because I'm 69. I thank God. I hope in May I make it to that 70. Tomorrow is not promised. I lost one of my dear friends just recently. He had an autoimmune disease, Kevin Long. And people really didn't know how good he was. And if you looked at his college, he's got Hall of Fame numbers. But he's just another name with the New York Jets. But to me, he epitomizes what we were all about. And we had guys like that. Bobby Jackson, Bruce Harper, like I said, Joe Klecko, Abdul Salam. I'm wearing this shirt right now. I don't know why he's not in the Ring of Honor. Bobby Jackson made up these hats, But we had so much talent. And I'll put Joe Klecko up against anybody. He was my most valuable player. But Mark Gastineau, that whole sack exchange, but they wouldn't be a sack exchange without each other. There is always somebody on there to bring them together, and that's what team is all about. But we had great athletes that did not get the accolades that they truly deserve, and I just wish we had the opportunities that some people, going to Super Bowls or getting out to the public, knowing what you could bring to the table. A lot of people don't know what I could really do on the football field, even players that I played against, and I see them now, and they know, but they've never seen me one-on-one to really see what I could do, And if we were to go against other teams in the league, and that's where you want to find out the best, you have to line, like even just take, for instance, all the fast guys in the NFL, the fastest guy. I used to say, well, I don't know if I'm faster. Line us all up, and then we can find out. Give everybody the same opportunities, and then you see who's the best. And that's impossible to do. There is no best player. When you get to that level, you're pretty good. But and stat wise, you can make a determination that way, but it's not necessarily your value because you put up some stats because you didn't get the opportunity. That's the point I'm trying to make. And I just felt like I never got the opportunity some people got where I could have been more successful. And a lot of that has to do with even staying healthy. And that was really one of my just downfalls where I just when I got to this level, or even in college, I never thought about being injured because I never lost a game in high school, never been injured until I got to college, but you don't think about those things. You just want to have success and do your job. And sometimes there are certain things that keep you from doing it. And I got lost in politics in college and even in high school when the coaches stacked me up against a person because they wanted to play somebody else. And that's why my father wanted me to run track, because sometimes, and with the Jets team, it's about the team. It's not necessarily you. So if you don't have that one plug in there that's missing, you can't be successful. And my dad, that's why he wanted me to run track, because it's all on me. I wish as a team, it was all on me to try to be successful, but it doesn't work that way. But you cannot do it without good coaching, without the players around you. And sometimes you can star out and be the only one, and that does happen, but it doesn't work consistently on a consistent basis unless you're getting the opportunities.
Now, I mean, again, it's all about taking advantage, like you said, of those opportunities, right? I mean, case in point, shout out here to Connor, New York flight, Jets Talks in the house, two of my favorite people. Connor literally created this connection between you and I, being able to go ahead and be that bridge.
I love Connor. I told him, you included, call me 24/7.
And I appreciate you. And I would have never had this opportunity if not for Connor. So again, Connor, man, appreciate you hanging out with us here, man. And again, I appreciate you connecting me and Wesley. Again, one of those things about opportunities. Came on the Connor show. He and I headed off on his show. And then we've been talking back and forth. And then next thing you know, he's connecting me with you. So
well, I appreciate Connor and I appreciate you. And that's what life is all about. And sometimes my wife thinks I'm crazy. I could take a person, like there was a guy I met here in Arizona, just a security guard at the Diamondback Stadium. We were wearing New York Mets stuff, and we started talking. And then he tells me Wesley Walker was his first jersey, and a big Jet fan. He's gone to both the home over in this last game, and I will make connections like that. So, and I really mean this, you can call me 24/7. I'm glad. I'm honored that you're willing, or Connor, to have me on the show and to try to help each other out in any way possible. I'll do that for anybody. That's just who I am. My wife thinks I'm crazy sometimes, but I've always been that way. I'm not this prima donna. I know some people don't do that. I meet a lot of my teammates can be real, I hate to say it, assholes or whatever, but I just can't be that way. And sometimes it's overwhelming with people and they can be rude, but I can't be rude to anybody. But I love people. I love the fans. I love the fact that I've been able to do some things to hopefully encourage people in the positive path. But the bottom line for me, I'm just no different than anyone. I'm just a human being, just trying to make people happy and serve others. And that's just who I am. And I'm indebted to you and proud that you're having me today on your show.
Wow. I appreciate that. That's some really, really kind words. I know we kept chopping it up. I told you I would keep you for only about an hour. We got a couple of super chats, and I got a couple of questions for you after, and then I'm gonna let you go.
No problem. I'm here, man. I'm just
okay.
here.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, so we got another one.
Mad, but that's just the way it is.
Yeah, I mean, again, and I love, again, the stories are awesome. I'm seeing a lot of individuals really talking in the chat. They're enjoying your input. So I'm going to let you keep going as long as you want to keep going. I just didn't want to go ahead and cut you off because I know you said, and I told you an hour.
I'm at your beck and call.
All right, my man. Okay. So we got DA411, New York Sports. He gave us a super chat. Wes, met you in Vegas last year, event before the Raiders game. You are one of my Jet heroes. Love you, brother. So, again, another Jets fan you got to meet. Wanted to go ahead and jump in, show some love. And, again, he wanted to say what's up.
And that was just a fun time. And I remember doing a pre- and post game for the Jets. And I remember going down to, I think it was in L.A. at the time. And we played the Raiders. Chad Pennington was the quarterback, and the Raiders beat them bad. But I never knew, you always heard about this black hole and the fans and everything else. And they were brutal. It was scary. And I remember the lady producing their own show said, "Can you walk me to my car? I even wear black so I can fit in." And I swear, I was walking around the stadium. Everybody looked like a gang member. I remember one of the fans who was a brother of one of the players, and he had a Jet jersey on. They were rocking him. I mean, it was bad. They threw firemen head, throwing bottles at him, and he had to get up and leave. I mean, them fans were crazy. So I'm like, when I went to the Raider game, it was just a different type of atmosphere being down there with the Raiders, and I had such a great time. But I had more of a good time because it was just the fans just being there with them. And there's a lady that put this together, Hillary, who I'm really friendly with, and I was hoping they were going to put something together for the Cardinal game because the Jets are coming out here too. But I have so much fun, and I've met so many good people through doing activities, through that with the Jets and with the fans. And they've become my good friends. And I've just met, I don't even know how to put it into words. I mean, I have this one lady, and I saw her at the game this week, at Liz Mueller. She made, my favorite color is pink. And she made me this nice jersey for my wife with blinged out pink numbers. I got pink. And there's so many others who have been so generous. And some have become my friends. And some may even come out to stay in Arizona when they come out here. But they're just regular people who happen to be Jet fans. And sometimes I don't understand how they become Jet fans. But I have such a good time because they're just genuine, nice people. And it's not that they give you the respect. It's that sometimes I feel like they're too nice, and I don't know why. And I never understand the whole Jet or celebrity thing, but I'm just no different than them, and I just like having a good time. And I did have a good time out there with the Raider game, and sat with a bunch of. I had one of the fans, Mikey Holkhands. He has these big green hands. He's in doing one of the mascot things or whatever, and I just saw him. Took a picture of him in the stands. But it's just so nice when you have so many people who are there to kind of support you, and I just want to give it back in any way I can.
And we appreciate you. Genuinely appreciate you because again, I think you've put a lot of smiling faces tonight, man. Again, you're talking about a Jets fan base coming off of an L that's really, really frustrating. To be at this point now where we're all kind of like, all right, it's Tuesday. We had our 24 hours, 48 hours of being mad about it. This is still a good team. Let's focus on Minnesota. So, yeah, having you on the show tonight, again, I think it was like perfect timing in terms of the fan base needing this, man. I know I needed it, man. I've been excited about just chopping it up with you all freaking day. So, again, I appreciate you.
Hey, well, and you mentioned that. Imagine being a player. And here's a guy that hasn't gotten the opportunities, but some of the losses. I was with Bernie Kosar at Joe Namath's tournament. I remember Gastineau getting a penalty, and they go 80, 90 yards and win the game, knock us out for the championship. Mud Bowl, and I was with Mark Clayton. I remember the Mud Bowl we had against Miami. We win the game. We go to the Super Bowl. I can tell you many nightmares that we've had as a player, but we continue to come back and hope. And at the end of the day, I'm gangrene all the way. I'm going to be a Jet fan, and I really didn't follow sports, but I'm going to be a Jet through and through, win or lose. And I have friends, and that's another thing. There's a lady, Donna Storin, that I've sat with game. She will say that most people, fans will even lose. Will leave when you're losing. This girl will stay there through thick and thin, win, lose, rain, pour, and stay there from the beginning to end. I appreciate that. I don't think I could do that, especially in the cold weather, I don't know. But you respect that. And that's a true fan, will be there no matter what. And that's what I love. And that's a true fan. And there's a lot of wishy ones out there too. But it cracks me up that there's a lot of friends of mine. I mean, they go crazy. We're going to the Super Bowl. Then, it's the same old Jet. And it's a flip-flop. Yeah. That's what the Jets do to you, man.
Yep.
So this team. With a grain of salt. I'm not drinking any Kool-Aid. I mean, I was on that couch ready for Aaron Rodgers. And the fact that Aaron Rodgers, this is another thing, how I don't follow football. I went to Cal. I take my kids to see this Hall of Fame. I'm in the Hall of Fame there. And I'm looking at the names, and I'm showing my kids. And I look up, I didn't know Aaron Rodgers went to Cal, but they had Marshawn Lynch, Deshaun Jackson, Tony Gonzalez, Ron Rivera, and I'm like, oh man, I don't even follow my own alma mater, and I should have known. And I picture Aaron Rodgers always been with Green Bay, but I had no affiliation whatsoever knowing he went to Cal Berkeley, which trips me out, And it's not that I'm dissing him or anything like that. I just don't really follow like sports and stuff, And I was floored to see those caliber athletes because Cal didn't really win a lot, But I look at Jared Goff, and we've had some good. I had some great quarterbacks come out of Cal. I had Vince Ferragamo, Steve Barkowski, and I had a guy, Joe Roth, who was going to be better than them. They liked him too. Joe Namath, and he passed away of cancer his senior year. Broke my heart. But I've been around some great individuals and people, and what's even better, I'm writing this book, and I've been able to contact guys that I played against. And like I was with Mark Clayton of Miami Dolphins, and Andre Reed, we played against each other. We may have said hi in passing the game, but we don't know each other. But when you see each other and we're together, it's like we've known each other for years. You have this bond or connection. I don't know what it is, but it's weird. It's like you've known them forever and you've never seen each other, And Al Toon, I haven't seen him since he really retired, and he's got a place out here in Scottsdale, but he lives in Wisconsin. I only seen him a couple of times since he retired, and maybe I can probably 3 times. But it was good seeing him, and we did this signing together. And now that I'm getting older, you're just appreciating the time, and you just want to spend as much time and getting more guys to come to these Legends Weekends because you don't know how much time you really got left. But I'm just thrilled to death that I'm able to interact with the fans and the players. And I ran into a guy that I hadn't seen at the game just walking through the concourse, and he's a friend of a friend, and he's with his wife, and we were just texting. It was so good to see you. And you never know who you're going to run into, but I'm with some former players. We're all taking pictures together. I just appreciate just the whole atmosphere. And it's not so much of win or losses or going to Super Bowls. It's just the fact that you're just with good people who happen to like football. And that's what I'm all about. And I can't tell how much I appreciate you or Connor or the fans themselves and people who say the nice things about you. And like I said, I get so much respect from other people that have nothing to do with football or fan. Yet I never got that kind of respect for my own organization. I hate to say that, but it's true.
And that's frustrating. That's frustrating, right? Because again, you're talking about a guy who beloved by the fan base. You know what I'm saying? Like you were the league leader. You know what I'm saying? A receiver at one point. You made the all rookie team. I feel like those kind of accolades, they're hard to do. They're very hard to do.
Yeah, but I think about
those things.
I always think about you just mentioned that. I used to drive, my wife crazy. I'd always look at the. It's not that I'm not positive, but I always look at what I didn't get. And I remember I was up for Rookie of the Year. I lost it to Tony Dorsett. If I'd have got more opportunities, maybe I would have won that thing. But you're looking to always be better. But I'm appreciative of what I did receive. But the only thing I'm saying, as an athlete, you're like a perfectionist. You want to be better. It would always could be better. That's the thing. But I'm just also glad that I've been able to participate with those caliber type of players in that category. And it's hard for me. I have this lifetime pass for the Hall of Fame, and I'll go there and I'll look at guys that I played against in high school or ran against in college, and they couldn't hold my jockstrap, and they're in the Hall of Fame. And I got to look at that. I can't even watch the Super Bowl and watch the celebrations because it's something that you wanted to do, and it's hard for me even now. I just not got to get angry. It's something that you aspired to do, and you can't have it, and it's frustrating just to watch that. And that's
the competitor in you,
but
the competitor in you is still very much. The competitor in you is still very much alive. Like it's still there, right?
Yeah.
And you can't turn that off. Like you were wired to be a competitor in life, and even to this day, like you just said, you watch the Super Bowl and you get mad because in your mind, man.
But we're all
missed opportunity.
But we're all competitive. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's bowling. You're going to try to do that. But I was with Andre Reed at a fundraiser in Wyoming this year. And we were at the table, and I was asking him, you got the Hall of Fame. Has it changed your life? And he says, not really. It maybe changed my wife's life a little bit. And then he says, I go to London. He's playing one of the games in London. He got his Hall of Fame ring and all this stuff stolen from his hotel. But I always thought you get to the Super Bowl, you get that ring. I would love to have been the guy that says, I'm going to Disney World. I still remember Jerry Rice being MVP, but they let Joe Montana say that, and there's a lot of politics even with that, not getting what the credits that you really deserve. And I've always felt that from a minority standpoint, sometimes we didn't have the right look, so you don't get the accolades that some other people get. But that's all part of just the business itself. But you just have to be appreciative of what you've been able to attain. And when I get back to the Jets and just the overall looking at like the Hall of Fame or getting to the Super Bowl, it just takes so much of a collective effort. And I can look at players like a Dan Marino not being in there. I remember Cam Newton. I went to the Super Bowl for the first time, and I think they lost one game. They should have went undefeated. Peyton Manning beats him in the Super Bowl. Where is Cam Newton? You just don't get those opportunities, and you got to take advantage of it. And as a youngster, you don't really realize that, and that's why you just every week, 110%, the best you can be. But you don't look at that way that this may be your last game. You can get hurt just like that, but you got to take the opportunity to be successful and give it all you got. And every year, every week, every day, that day may never come again. So take advantage of it. And I can't do it over again, but it just came and went. But I wish I knew what I knew now. I don't know if it'd be any different with the Jets, but I sure would like to think so.
I mean, I think that's one of those things we look at in life, right? Where we look at when we get towards the later years of life, we look at like our prime years and thinking like, man, would this version of me listen to would young me listen to this version of me? You got to ask those questions. I would like to believe that 39-year-old me, about to be 40 years old, would be able to go ahead and talk to 20-year-old me, and I would have made some smarter decisions. I lost a scholarship, you know what I'm saying, when I was playing at Rutgers. Because of just being an idiot, right? Like I was being an idiot. I really felt I was above it all. Like I didn't need to be coached. I knew what I was doing. Lost a scholarship. For 40-year-old me now, as I sit there and I look at 20, I'm like, you're an idiot, man. Like you were dumb.
Yeah, I
So
don't know. That's one thing. I don't know how it gets that way. I thank God again, and that's always been a part of my life. And I had good values, family values. I had very good. My role models. I never looked at an athlete. I loved athletes. I loved actors and people who looked up with the name, but my parents were my role model. But there's always been something within me inside to just be that good person or to help others. And I taught when I retired for about 25 years after my retirement, and I would go to schools with kids that just didn't have things, and it's unfortunate. It was a lot of minority kids, but sometimes they wouldn't treat you well, but you don't know their home life. And then you end up being friends with them after they get to know you, you get to know them. And I never could understand how somebody could be mean to you if they're really trying to reach out to try to help you. And the choices and the decisions that you do make as a youngster, I don't know why it came from within. I mean, I hung out with the good and the bad. I know my parents tried to protect me from the bad, and they didn't want to see anything. I could have been dragged out even early in my career with people, with drugs, making certain decisions. I just didn't get caught. But I think about the times or decisions I made, something could have happened. It would have changed my whole life and the choices and decisions that you do make. But I'm thankful that I've had that ability, whether it be through my faith, through my parents, or just having the wherewithal to try to do the right things and to set goals for yourself and to try to be better. I don't know what it's like where people cannot do that automatically to make your life better instead of making a choice that's going to be detrimental to you. I don't know how persons or how that works with that. And to change that dynamic, you're trying to change people to help them through your own experiences, but I still don't know how people can look at certain things and not want to be better, but it's just so different. I look at this political climate right now, things that are totally wrong, and people support this type of behavior and turn a blind eye to things. Or when people stand up for civil rights, I remember Colin Kaepernick. What we're trying to do is people and looking at the situation of something that's happening that is wrong, and people turn it into something else. And I don't know how we can all become one and be on the same page and love one another. Just to love one another. How hard is that? But it don't exist. I'm not going to sit by it and turn a blind eye to it. I'm going to try to exude that. And that's just me. I don't know why everybody else can't be that way, whether it's prejudice, racism, whatever it is. But all I know is I want to try to do the right thing
100%.
all the time.
100%.
Yep.
100%. We got a super chat from Stat. Again, happy belated birthday. Stat, you're entered into tonight's giveaway. He says, Wes, we share a birthday weekend. Happy belated to you, my Gemini brother.
I love my Geminis. I'm very, very thankful. I'm just hoping I make it next May. I wake
good.
up every morning. I'm thankful I get up every morning.
Look, I'm looking at the chat right now, man, and I agree with some of these guys, right? In regards to just how sharp you are as you're breaking down story, your ability to recall your experience in the early years of your career, it's impressive. I'm hoping I'm on that level when I'm your age. Like I'm looking at the chat right now, and a bunch of individuals are just thoroughly impressed. Like, man, he's just so knowledgeable and he's so sharp, and I'm like, yeah, nah. I hope.
Well, one of the thing, and you just triggered something. It makes me really sad too, because if you can look on the internet and especially with the CTE and the injuries and the things, and I mentioned Kevin Long, he just passed away of a autoimmune disease that I've never even heard of, so carcidosis. And you watch what it does to your body. I lost Richard Castor to Parkinson's. I went to his 70th birthday, and he just died at 75, couldn't walk, talk, and he wouldn't want you to see him like that. I had Marvin Powell, who I got drafted with, Jim Sweeney, who was only 60, center for us. Marvin Powell, we're the same age. Both died the same week of a heart attack.
Wow.
I don't know if they were having issues. I think Marvin Powell was even having some personal issues. There's a lot of guys, my teammates right now. God, there's so many. I'm with a lot of them today. Mark Gastineau, who's battled with a lot of different things. And you see all these things that are happening, which a lot of it is related to football. So I have a hard time turning a blind eye, but want to make light that there are things that I hope will change from the standpoint of the NFL helping some of these guys, because this is a contact sport and we have issues. And a lot of people don't even know. Shoot, this is after my career. And I was still going to try to play. 3 years I played with this neck condition. Really kind of new, but you love the game. You're trying to support your family. And I remember the Jets had me sign a waiver. And I look back on that now, and I said, they want to have me sign a waiver. So I broke my neck, be paralyzed. They're not responsible or reliable. And I'm taking that chance. And why would I want to even risk that? But since my retirement, I've had my C4 through 7 in my neck fuse. I got 14 screws, plate and cage in there. I've had a 6-level back fusion, and my doctor said my back was worse than my neck, and I find that hard to believe. I had a laminectomy done in my back, my second back surgery last December. Had my right knee. This is the one I injured in college, and I've torn and all over the NFL, games that I've had. Finally had that replaced. He said both of them need to be done, but right now it feels pretty good, and I'm gonna wait on my left one. But I've had both my shoulders done, Achilles, and certain days, everybody else, man, you sure look good. But I wish I felt like I looked, but they don't know the plight that people are going through. And when I see my fellow team members going through stuff, and I know Joe Bledsoe just went in for a knee replacement, and he got an infection, and he's lost all this weight, and it's touch and go, and I haven't seen him because he can't make these appearances now. But anything can happen to you, and especially playing this game. Once you step on that practice field, anything can happen. I just wish I kind of knew what I knew now to try to take care of yourself better. They have these control practices now. It's like a country club, as far as I'm concerned, opposed to what we did when we were hitting 2 a day, sometimes 3 a days. They have control practice, shorts and shoulder pads to get days off. They're housed in a hotel. I mean, I remember going to get lunch in between meetings, half dressed, driving the car to go get lunch. These guys have everything. They don't know how good they have it. We sort of missed the boat. But the guys before my time were working jobs and everything else. They missed the boat too. So it's all relative. But the things that are happening to our bodies and mentally, there's guys I can tell you stories that are struggling right now, and it's a shame to see, you know. And I just wish there was some type of insurance that we could buy into, or long-term care, because these are going to happen. I don't want my wife to have to take care of me in a wheelchair, or I can't dress myself, and that's got to be difficult. But there should be something set up that the players can even buy into to kind of take care of themselves, because it's inevitable. And just the aging processes can happen.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen with people that don't play sports also. But it's just a hard thing to watch. And I'm lucky. I end up retiring from teaching, like I said, 25 years. So I have insurance, lifetime insurance. I'm retired now. So all I can do is try to educate, especially kids nowadays, or the parents and people, and even guys that are playing this game. And you really have to take care of yourself and prepare for that time it's going to end, because it's going to end. And a lot of people, once they get through playing, because I feel like they define themselves as a pro football player or New York Jet. And Wesley Walker is just a regular person, human being, is no different than you. And you try to do the things that you're going to be successful at after your career. And that was my goal once this thing retired. What are you going to do? But I couldn't let that be a disappointment, and you go into a doldrum where it becomes negative, and some people can't find themselves, you know. And I was just not like that, you know. Football has just always been a part of me, but it's not all of me, you know. And at the end of the day, I'm no different than you. Just trying to get on with the day and help people and do the best you can. I'm sitting here, people don't even know. I got a 2-year-old and a 7-month-old. I'm chasing around, and kids were taking care of families, and my day, I'm probably busier now than I've ever been. And I'm supposed to be retired, man. And certain days, I can't wait for all these kids to get out the house right now, you know?
Grandpa Wesley, right? Hey, it's
Yeah,
that next
and
chapter.
my
It's that
girl,
next chapter.
they love grandpa too, and it makes me melt. So I love that. That's another thing. So, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to have this one day. My days are numbered, so I want to make the best out of it. And that's as I get it. And I'm not. My wife always thinks I'm afraid to die, and I'm not afraid to die. I got my faith, but I enjoy my life. If I live to be 300, that's still too short for me. I want to live forever. So I have to do that in heaven. So, but I love life. I'm blessed. I've got beautiful, my kids, my grandchildren. I have a wonderful life. I mean, if you see my kids, and I have people that give me so many compliments, man, where do you get this? You know, I mean, hey, it's a gift of God. Thank God I've had good mothers with good genes. I don't know what it is, but I've been blessed. I can tell you that. I was so
Yeah,
happy to see my grandson at the. One of my kids brought my little grandson. I didn't think he was going to be there. It was a surprise to me. He was so happy to see me, but I love my life. That's all I can tell you.
and I think that's what it boils down to, right? Like, I think we were talking about this before we jumped on, in regards to the fact that we've arrived here, that we're here now, in terms of having gone through, like you said before, the hits you've had to take and the injuries you're overcoming right now. We were talking about, my deployments earlier. We're here because, like, you know what, this is our path, right? I
Yes,
wholeheartedly believe God puts us in situations that allows us to be where we're supposed to be. And I
yes,
think right now, again, you lost some friends. You know what I'm saying? R.I.P. to them, man. I'm condolences in regards to those losses. I've lost friends, and family, in terms of the military family. And it whenever you start looking at things into perspective, and you look at where you're at now, I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to be here. Like, God has found a way to go ahead and protect me and shield me to be where I'm supposed to be. There's something else planned for me. And again, in your case, maybe it's to be the best granddad you can be. Maybe it can be the best
yeah,
grandfather you can be, right? Like, you really don't know, but you got to live the life that you're currently living right now. And it's good to know that you're living it, man. It really is good
yeah,
to know that
and
you're living
yeah.
it.
And we're on a journey. I don't know where God's leading me. I just feel I've gone through divorce. I've gone through some pretty things that could be very trying on you,
Yep.
but you
Same here.
get through it. And it's a path that God has taken me to help me learn. Even through my divorce, I've learned something about me on what not to do, or it's making me see what I should have been doing. And it's all part of this journey. And I can't, thank God enough for helping me see. and I'm still on that journey. And I'm a big movie buff, and I was watching Equalizer. I love Denzel Washington, and in the first
My favorite
Equalizer,
actor. My
the first
favorite freaking
the
actor.
first movie, there's a saying by Mark Twain, and it says, "The two most important days of your life is when you're born and when you find out why." And I've been like, I don't even know, but I've been a teacher. I'm helping people. My wife and I have this business where we're helping families and people and doing anything. And I'm like, I'm here to serve others. And I swear, I had this companionship aid business with my wife, and I'd be sharing one of my clients. His name is Joe Byrne, and I'd be there washing his feet every day. And I'm like, and I'm not comparing myself to Jesus, but I thought this is what Jesus does, you know. And but it's something you are serving others, and it makes you know you're helping people, and that's what I feel. I'm here to serve others, and I don't know any other way. And that's what we do now. That's what my wife does. We have a company where we help families. I have 2 autistic kids here today, and then I have some this evening. We have a blind couple who have 2 autistic girls who are on the spectrum. We take care of them every day. Sometimes it's so much, you know, like my wife, you got to stop this. We got too much. And the parents have problems, issues, but they need help. If we can try to provide that help, we try. But sometimes I get so bogged down where I forget. I got to think about it. I had a therapist after tell me this after my mom had passed away, and he was telling me, Wesley, I don't want to hear about the wife, Barbara. I don't want to hear about your kids. Do you know anything about self-care? You know what they say on a plane when those masks come down? Who do you take care of? You take care of yourself first. And it made a lot of sense. But I'm still having a hard time doing it. I'm always giving, doing. But one day I want somebody to say, Wesley, what do you want to do? I haven't heard it yet, so I'm still waiting. But I have no other way of being as a giver and somebody that wants to help people or serve others. And that's what God has done for all of us. And that's what I'm going to continue to do to the day I die. And that's as simple as that.
Hey, in the words of Marcus Santiago, 499 super chat. Appreciate you, Marcus. Hey, words of wisdom. Literally right now, I wasn't expecting for us to jump in the hangar tonight. We're hanging out and we're getting like words of wisdom, like life lessons are being taught right now. Wesley, again, man, like you're making this. This is one of my best shows ever thus far. I've never seen this many individuals in the current chat room. Just to go ahead and hear you kind of give guidance, man. So again, Marcus Santiago wanted to say words of wisdom, and I couldn't agree more. I do got a couple of questions for you. I know, again, we're way over the hour I told you about, and I'm not mad at it. You're not mad at it, so that's a good thing.
No, I would never be mad. My wife would be more mad than me, so that's it.
No, same here.
She's always like that, though.
You know? My wife is the same way.
Dude, I'm mad at her, but she don't listen to me. You know.
They never do. They never do. Yeah. Right? They're always right in their eyes.
Yep.
We got a question from DA411 on New York Sports. He goes, is there a wide receiver now that you can think of that this particular player is just like you, like in essence, a comp of who you were as a wide receiver?
Woo! That's really a tough one, you know. And you know, I think of guys like with my running style. I remember Cliff Branch and the Oakland Raiders, and then he gets inducted to the Hall of Fame, but he passed away. He couldn't even enjoy it. I look at a guy like Tyreek Hill. He can burn it up. And there was another guy that could run too. The only guy that made me question as a defensive back he could run was Darrell Green. And I beat him, and man, he recovered so fast. And I'm like, whoa, that's the first time somebody did something like that. And I beat him. I wish the quarterback would have saw me because I'd have beat him for a touchdown, but he recovered that quick. People didn't know how fast or deceptive I could be, but I look at a Tyreek Hill. I look at all the guys that can run really fast. And a lot of people don't even know. I tell people all the time, I was running like in the 44-2 in high school, you know? But everybody, like I said, has a little bit of a different style. But I have the speed and quickness, but I like myself to a Cliff Branch, a Tyreek Hill. And, you know, I haven't seen enough of a Garrett Wilson, but I know he can run. It's just getting the opportunities. And I just hated that I was like the deep threat. and I could do so much more, like being in the slot or moving me around or being the short guy to catch the stuff over the middle. Although some people said I wouldn't go over the middle, and that's crazy. But I don't know who would go in the middle when a quarterback leads you into traffic and you have these collisions. Nobody's going to want to do that, or drop it or short arm it. They call it Wally Gator, your short arm coming out, But if the ball's on the money where it's supposed to be, you don't have any problems going after any. But sometimes you go after bad balls and, you may not be waking up. I told Al Toon even just this week when I saw him get knocked out twice. Once he got his tooth knocked out, big concussion, and once was against Houston. And they came in with this house of pain and they knocked him out. And I'm like, I hope I never get hit like that. And what I remember about that game, he gets knocked out because I was always being compared to him, or Al was the reason I had success. Well, he got knocked out. I was the most valuable player, had 3 touchdowns. We beat them 45 something. And they thought they were going to come in and kick our butt. And I felt like my coaches, who didn't really have the confidence in me, because I'll never forget this also. This was with Richie Carter. He was my position coach. And we go into a game, and normally when they have certain cornerbacks that are really good, they will flip-flop you, trying to stop you wherever you go on the field. And I remember Richie Coach is going over personnel. We're playing Washington, and he's coming up with Darryl Green, and he says, we got Darryl Green, and he usually goes with the best wide receiver. So, Al, he'll probably be on you. And even my teammate said, whoa. And it wasn't that I'm feeling I'm better than Al, but it was almost a slight to me. Is that the way you feel about it? And it's not me feeling better than Al. So when we got to the game, Darryl was flip-flopping with me. And the point being, I felt like the coach didn't have confidence in me, wouldn't put me in that elite with the great receivers, and that maybe they wanted to stop the deep guy, which was me. And it's something that he shouldn't have said. But even the players, my teammates got offended by what he said. How could he really say that? And I'm not taking away from Al Toon, but you have coaches like that. And I've always had people, especially when you hit towards the 29, 30, or you lost a step. I ran into Lynn Berman, the commentator. I don't know if you know who he is. And he's a great commentator. He's on ESPN, and he's a big Jet fan. And he said to me, Wesley, I'll never forget about you. You came in fast and you left fast, meaning I never lost a step. And that was just a tribute to me of somebody knowing you. And it's a great analogy of what I even feel about myself. But here I get it from somebody else and not the team, or the respect that you really deserve. And that's the problem I always had. But that's just the way things are. But inside, I talked to a lot of my guys, like a Bobby Jackson, who didn't get the respect. I called him the Darrelle Revis of our time. But certain people that work for the organization wouldn't feel that way. I would take Bruce Harper. I would take any Joe Klecko, Mark Gasson, Marvin Powell. I go to Richard Todd, Kenny O'Brien. I used to say that people thought I was crazy. I'll take Kenny O'Brien over Dan Marino, John Elway, and I saw him beat them in Superstars competition. And I said it wasn't a slight to Joe Namath. I never played with him. I wish I could have played with Joe Namath. He's one of the best human beings I've ever met. And that's why I went out to his golf tournament, just his dinner golf tournament, just reading. Wonderful. And I never played with him, but knowing him, he's treated me like I played with him or his family. Love this guy. I called him when I had to get my knee replaced, because he took him a long time to get his knees replaced. He was used to walk around with these bandages. I used to cringe just watching him. He finally got him replaced, and he's like a new man. And so I called him, and he just gave me the okay sign to get it doing. And I appreciate it. He just called me right back. But I said, I'll take Kenny O'Brien over Joe Namath, Dan Marino, Elway. And I remember this Gary Myers, right, thought I was crazy in this function saying that. But my guys were good. Give them the same situation, but you just don't have the system sometimes, the coach, and you get very limited. And guys kind of go a different way. They kind of give up when a coach is one way sometimes. And it's a shame. Your true talent sometimes don't come out. I've seen a guy like Matt Robinson, who had a stellar year when Richard Todd got hurt. I go to the Pro Bowl with him. He goes to another team because he got disrupted with something happened within the organization, the coaching. They trade him, but he was with the coach, didn't believe in him, the philosophies, and he, as a player, knows what he can do. And there's a rift. He never materialized going to another team, and that's what happens to a lot of athletes. But I wish we had more coaches who not only could develop their system, but could take input from the players and try to intermingle both to see what they do best. You'll have coaches that are one-minded. This is the way you have to do it. This is the way we have to do it. And there's another way you can do certain things. You got to be flexible and be able to do both, you know. But some people are one way and you get caught up in the system and then you just don't flourish. And to me, a coach can deviate from that mentality and have you flourish no matter what if they see your true talent. How are we going to use them within my system to get the best out of them? And that's what a coach does. And unfortunately, it just doesn't even happen on the NFL level.
So we got another super chat for you here, and a lot of individuals are trying to make sure they sneak in before we get to the end of it here. Miguel Padilla wanted to go ahead and say, to hear Mr. Walker's life after football is amazing. What a blessing. Wanted to go ahead and say thank you. He is entered into tonight's giveaway. One love to Jets Nation. I got a final question for you, but again, we got a few more. I want to make sure because these are good ones. I'm not gonna lie to you; these guys came through with some good ones for you.
Okay.
So you were just referring in regards to your speed, right, and how just natural it was, and just the God-given ability that hey, sometimes you got it, sometimes you don't. Sharp Instincts wants to ask, how good did it feel to be running with someone and knowing you have another gear left and they don't, and are your grandkids old enough to run track?
My coach Dan Henning, and that was a big joke with the guys on our team. When he's even, he's leaving. There was nothing better. I used to love watching practice because Dan Henning, which is, again, he taught me to another level. I could just run by guys, but he taught me how to set up people.
Wesley, you still there?
I'm still there. I just checked my phone off or something. Something came up over it.
Oh, okay.
I learned how to set up people where I can line up anywhere on the field, and I could run different angles and do it quickly and run the same pattern from any position, whether it be the hash marks, inside the hash, outside, and run the same pattern, but you would not know which way I was going. And it was nothing better when you could, let's say, run a corner route, and some people call it like a flag route for little high school purposes, where you can have somebody jump into that post and you're over here wide open. And I'm writing this book, and because the guy said, well, I'm going to call it, you always say you're an open book. You want to talk about everything. I can ask you anything, and you're always wide open. So we're going to call it wide open. And if you looked at a lot of my TDs, there was not a lot of guys just there. You just knew how to not only run by them, but you could also set them up where it was just so easy. And I was just gifted with that. But a lot of people underestimated my speed. And Lamb Jones was really good at that. I mean, we never raced, but he had this methodical, like, little pace stretch where he didn't even look like he's moving, and he would be jet streaming through it. And I was deceptive like that. People just didn't really know how fast I was. And I remember my coach made this, poster board thing. He called me the Flyer. I was even with Chris Ward last Super Bowl. He still calls me the Flyer. But it's just something that was God-given. I ran track. I always tell people I was a track runner that played football. I was a football player that ran track. And like I said, my dad wanted me to run track because he was a track runner. And it was more of an individual sport. I wouldn't be caught up in a system with a coach, with politics. It was just on me. But it helped me as far as my cardiovascular, just training. I just wish I was more flexible. I've just learned now to drink water. If it wasn't for my wife, I wouldn't even be drinking water now. I can't believe. No wonder I had all pills and strains and not eating right, drinking sodas. But we didn't have the, you know, and you think on a pro level you would have all these things. But back when we were playing, and I remember listening to Joe Namath, you know, he'd drink, he wouldn't even eat before he was drinking coffee and chewing tobacco before the game. He didn't know drinking alcohol or whatever. We didn't know the benefits of certain things with your body, nourishment, how to eat and how to train. And now guys are training. I looked at a regime with the running back that used to play for the Titans with the Ravens.
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
And that's a big boy too. I saw him
Yep.
a couple years at the Super Bowl. But his training, that what goes in it. And some people like Walter Payton, they train as soon as the season's over. And that's what you have to do. And I'll be honest, the more I train, the harder I train, the better results that I had. But nowadays, there's so many things you can do, whether it's your diet, exercise, training, and you can even pay it. I even hired a trainer in my last couple of years, which worked out, but I didn't know enough about it. You know, I didn't even stretch really. I didn't have anybody who could do that. I mean, with yoga, there's so much more you can do. I just wish I could go back in time to know these things. But you would think on a pro level, you would have these things, but it's just evolved that way. But now, I mean, I used to have a fight with the organization because I wanted to see a chiropractor. The chiropractor was helping me. And I remember telling the press, look, the trainer's telling me one thing, the doctor's telling me one thing. I got a chiropractor making me feel better. I'm just saying, I'm not saying one over the other. It comes out in the paper, Wesley Walker mistrusts Jets and medical staff, wants to see a chiropractor. And I didn't even say that. But the chiropractor was helping. Now teams have chiropractors. It's just evolved in different ways. But there was certain things that I knew as a youngster, even my ability, even running routes, and you have these coaches can make up stories of what they think you're about. And they'll have the guy say things like, well, he's got to learn the intricacies of wording patterns. I was doing things that I did in the NFL in high school and college, you know. And I'm not saying I'm better. I just know what things I did know, but it could have been better. But we didn't even have the facilities or the training or the coaches who could help facilitate that. And knowing what I know now, and it's too late for now, you would have took that opportunity to get those things. But as a youngster, you just don't know. And I think, at least I hope that the former players or the players now can come back and help educate these guys. But there's still that big problem with the concussions and how much do you play. I'm looking at Tua right now. And I know the doctor, I happened to meet the guy that discovered that Dr. Omalo, when Tua had that first big concussion Monday night, his hands are balled up. He's saying he should quit. He had another one now. That's got to be a big question. Do you continue to play? I was the same way with my neck condition. By the grace of God, and I'm here, like we said, I took a chance on breaking my neck, and I signed a waiver, and that could have happened. And now I got 14 screws and plate and a cake. I'm just lucky I'm here walking. And the scary part, the year I retired in '89, they wanted me to retire. I had a Bud Carson, who was our coordinator. He became head coach at Cleveland. He wanted me to come, see if I was interested in playing. I was still considering playing, but I went to my doctor. I told him what the deal was. Somebody's interested. I want to make sure I'm doing the right thing, or should I quit? And he said, Wesley, I've been telling you for 3 years, you've been taking a chance on breaking your neck and being permanently, hey, I could be dead, at the right hit. Look at what happened to Damar Hamlin. We get all excited. I mean, I had my nurse from school that I used to teach with, because I would cover for her with our periods or whatever, and she's a friend of mine. People calling me about that is all forgotten. They move on to the next one, and people don't even think about it. But that's how devastating this game can be. You can be dead, hurt, maimed. I look at just what happened with Patrick Mahomes, his own teammate he runs who tears his knee up. It could just happen just like that. That's why you have to get what you can, and you have to try to prepare yourself to be healthy, to work as hard as you can, because you don't know when that time is going to end, because it's going to end in some way, some shape or form. I don't care if you pay 20 years, it's going to end at some point. I used to say to kids, like, I can say football was my career, but a career to me is something you can do the rest of your life. I can't play football the rest of my life. So, but I'm thankful that I'm here talking to you. I can share my experiences. And if I had the chance to do it all over again, I would do certain things differently, but I would still question whether I would play, because people don't know what I feel right now every day when I wake up in the morning. I haven't felt my feet since 1986. They've been numb due to this nerve and a back condition I've had, and I've had surgery. It's not improved. I've got nerve damage. I've had atrophy. I'm losing function of my right hand. I wake up some days with aches. I can't even shoot a basketball, raise my arms up because of my shoulder surgeries or things I've had over the years. I can't run. I can walk. I'm up at 3 a.m. walking. And out here in Arizona at 116, you got to walk at 3 or 4 in the morning because you ain't doing it during the daytime. But I have to figure out a way to exercise, to eat healthy, so I can extend my life as long as I possibly can. No matter what's in front of me, I got to try to figure it out. And that's my journey. And that's what I want to try to project, or at least be a role model to people of my experiences, that you can help somebody else that wants to play this sport. But there's a lot of things that are going on that the public really doesn't know how you feel, what players are going through. And I'm so sympathetic to all those players. And when I see some of my teammates going through some stuff right now, it makes me very sad, because there's no compensation and there's no help for a lot of these players. And some players leave this game broke, no insurance, and have no idea where they're even going. And I remember one of my son's teammates this year played for Dallas. They found him in a bathtub for a couple of weeks. They did a wellness check, and he was in a bathtub dead. And it's just crazy. But he wasn't doing well after his career. And that happens to a lot of athletes. And if we can try to help to try to prevent that, I'm going to try to speak out to do that.
Well,
and I hope I can kind of get this book going. And I have this book that's going to be, well, I think the deadline's November 1st, and they're going to try to release it next football season, 2025. I told the guys, the publishers, before I even did anything, I don't care about the money. I just want to tell a good story. So hopefully it'll be a good story. But I want to tell stories like just the fact that we're talking guys like Connor. I mean, I have so many stories just from individuals, students that I've taught, or people that I've helped, that are such good stories, and they don't know the effect that they've had on me as a person, who make up the type of person that I am. And it just makes you want to give back even more. I know my wife gets mad saying I'm too nice, but that's just the way I am. People are too nice to me, so I want to give back, and there's nothing wrong with that, but that's just who I am. So hopefully it will work out. I like I said, I'm hoping I can be that role model to people and just help any way I can. And you can call me 24/7. I tell Connor that all the time.
You already know I got you on speed dial now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vera wanted to ask you, actually, the book is coming out. Everybody's excited about that. You said it was called Wide Open?
Wide Open.
Wide
Open.
Open.
It's going to be called, unless they change it. I wanted to call it The Blind Truth, but we'll see where it's going. But I just don't know what direction we want to take it. But it's just about my life and things that I think are important. But sometimes writers want to do things the way they want to see it. It's not really the direction you want to go. But I want to tell the right story the right way, and just share the things that I've been able to do. But I've had so many good things to me. Just for my blindness alone, I never knew you could help people. And I had this teacher reach out to me, and I'm a teacher, because I retired, been a teacher, and his son was going blind. And I met him when he was like 9. And he wrote me this letter, and then I called him right away and called him at school. And he said, "Would you mind calling my son?" After that, he was thrilled. He couldn't believe I got back to him. And so I ended up doing that. We became friends. He's in Northern California. He ended up going to Cal. He not only got 1 degree, but 2 degrees. But over the years, he used to write these narratives for school about the help that I gave him. And all I did was sign autographs, send jerseys. I have these. It's up in my wall here. I have all my cards in a frame, and for special people, I'd get these signed cards, and I would actually go to Michael's. They have these baseball card frames with baseball players. I'd take the cards and put my cards in there and give it, just doing anything to try to encourage him. He wrote the most beautiful letters as he's growing up. And then when he graduated, he went to Cal. The family flew me out to California to thank me, went to his graduation. They did a whole article in the paper, and he ended up getting surgery where he lost his eye. They had to put a prosthetic. Know him and his wife now. But those are the kind of stories. And I was able to bring him together with some other people who've had accidents. And I never knew that the blindness thing would have been a big deal. I never shared it with anybody. And I don't know why I didn't create a foundation charity or work with Helen Keller for the blind. It never came up. And I'm so disappointed in myself, but not trying to figure out how to reach or help people. And I've been able to do that somewhat. But I just help people no matter. It's not even about the blindness. It's just whether it's through education or just anywhere that I can help out. But there's so many stories that people, I even had a student wants to be a film director. She directed a film because she remembers me speaking about my eye, and her dad had an accident with an umbrella in the backyard. The umbrella hit him in the eye, lost his eyesight. And so she wanted to do a film telling this story, and it came back to me giving a speech about my blindness, and she's very good. But here's a girl that I had since kindergarten. I've been with people. I got inducted into this high school hall of fame with John Elway, and he was there. And I have two of my students that happened to move out to LA, and her sister was visiting. I taught her whole family, her brothers and sisters. And here we are in California having lunch before I had to go do this Hall of Fame thing with a family that lived in Long Island. And here we're celebrating in LA. And it's just such a small world. And I continue to meet whether people that I've met through teaching or just fans, and we just have so much in common and things to share. And it's just nice when I run into people, even at the Jet games, who have gone out of their way for me, and I will go out of my way for them because they just respect you and they're just nice. And that's just the way I am. And I just can't even tell you how just nice people can be. And I don't care. I'm not looking to get anything back from it. It's just, that's who I am. I'd rather give than to receive, but that's just the way I am. But I just love people. I love kids. I get tired sometimes too, but I just want to be a good person. That's it. That's all I've ever done, you know?
Well, is there a specific charity or organization you want to go ahead and kind of
No,
share with
that's
the
another
audience?
thing. I wish I would have created something like that. And I almost made a joke. Yeah, Wesley Walker Fund. You take care of me. But no, I wouldn't even want that. If I did have a charity, I would probably do something like that. But I'm to the point where I wish I had it where I could have people just give it to some charity or somebody that you're helping. Or it could be just an individual that needs help or whatever, you know. But I don't have anything specifically. My wife keeps talking about it. I should start something like that. But I have enough charity work I'm doing here, man. It's killing me, you know. So that's where I'm at with that. But it's not that I wouldn't want to, but I have enough stuff that I'm doing here with the people, and I just wish that was one of my regrets. I would have done something with the blindness thing, but I always try to keep it hidden because I felt it was going to keep me from playing sports.
Okay, all right. So speaking of sports, we got two more questions. First one here is going to be: if you could celebrate one touchdown, what would your go-to dance be?
A go-to dance. Wow. You know what? I was always modest, and I never liked that kind of thing. But it was that I used to love that funky chicken with Billy White Shoes Johnson in it. I always liked that. Now you have all these guys doing all different things. It just wasn't my style. It just wasn't my thing. But if I had to think of something, I'd have to try to think of something new. But I'm not coordinated enough to do some dance or to do something that's fun. But I would try to think of something that I could do different. But I don't know what that would be. But I always used to love Billy White Shoes down. He had this funky chicken in the end zone with that. And it wasn't something that was malicious. It was just fun. I used to love Deion Sanders with that high kick and all that. And some of the things are really funny and entertaining. But now it's just over the top with what guys are doing nowadays. And I just want to play the game. I don't know. There's nothing that I could think of. But if I had to do something, I would think of something different that nobody's ever done. I don't know what that would be. Because I can't dance. I know that. I'm only black man can't do the moonwalk or something, you know. And that's why, I would hate if I tried to do something, I'd be made fun of by my teammates if I did anything. But that's never even been the person. And I've always thought about that because Mark Gasol made a name for himself with the sack, but he was a great athlete. And he didn't do anything malicious. And a lot of guys are doing a lot of stuff that you just, man, come on, it's enough already. But I wish I had something like that. But I was never that type. I was always brought up just being humble. Hey, go to the end zone like you've been there before. I think I maybe slammed the ball down once. I threw one out of the stands, and the ball didn't even make it out of the stand and went into the net, where they put the net up for the field goals or the PATs. And everybody thinks it went out the stand. I said I was embarrassed. It didn't even make it out of the stands or whatever. But I very rarely got really excited. I was always excited inside. I mean, I had a catch against Miami in '86 in overtime. That was a hell of a catch. But I've had many catches where I look up. I'll never forget Jerome Barker, one catch I made. He said, "Man, I know you can see out of that good eye. You're BSing everybody." But there'd be catches that I would make sometimes myself. And I would say, "Oh my God, it had to be a higher power for that one." Because I would man, I don't even know how I got that or whatever. And I always feel like God is watching me there because sometimes you don't know. And with the blindness thing, I can't even explain to people. That's God talking as far as I'm concerned.
All right. So if we make the Super Bowl, are you going to show up?
Absolutely, if I can get some tickets. And that's the key. I mean, it's a business too. And I've been lucky to get tickets too. And they're very expensive. I remember when they were $75 and guys would sell them for like $1,000. And now I think the cheapest ticket last year was like 3,500, something like that.
3,500, but yep,
But you can get
3,400 something. Yep.
and you can get 20, 15, 30, whatever, depending on who wants to sell them. So that's the thing. But I said I wasn't even going to go to a Super Bowl until the Jets go. And that had maybe been forever. But I did go one year at Denver and a Panther game with Cam Newton and the Denver Broncos, only because a friend of mine who used to go, and he used to take a private plane there, and it was a bunch of us that he wanted to take, and he'd been trying to get me for years, and I never go anywhere without my wife, and she finally let me go, and I went one time, and the only other time I went to the Super Bowl when I was in '82, and I went with my wife at the time, was my ex-wife, and I went. It was Washington and Miami, and I felt we should have been in there. And I watched Jimmy Cephalo go 70 yards, and I'm like, this little slow dude goes 70 yards for a touchdown, and they end up getting beat bad. I left at halftime, and I said I'll never go to another Super Bowl. But I've only been twice, and then I've done 2 Super Bowl activities. 3 years ago, I got tickets. I had my daughter-in-law and her husband, and he's a big Rams fan. And it's when the Rams won it, and so they went. Then my daughter here and my daughter-in-law wanted to go. I gave them the tickets last year, and I'm like, my wife was making these plans with her. Would Wesley Walker maybe like to go with you to the game? And I'm always the last one to do anything. But again, that's the giver in me. And one day I would like just to go with my wife and I and just do something different. We're thinking about this year going to New Orleans, but sometimes it's just nicer watching it on TV,
The experience. I get that.
Yeah.
I get
But
that.
I would like my buddy, I have a buddy here, and he knows like a general manager of Green Bay Packers, and they played together, and he invited them up to the suite at this Super Bowl. If I knew somebody, I would do it that way. It's nice being in the, now, and me, I'm not even paying attention to the game. I'm just looking at the people and having a good time. It's like, hey, I'm not in it, so that makes me jealous. I don't care about this because I'm not in it, and it's like it's not going to happen. So I just have a different feeling on things with that,
Okay.
But I hope
All
the
right.
Jets get in it. I hope the Jets get in it.
I'm glad you said that. So we're going to do a little time travel real quick.
Yeah.
So now it's February 2025. The 2024 season has just come to an end with the ending of the Super Bowl. How did the New York Jets 2024 season end?
That is a good question. Now, how can I answer that question? I mean, you could take it on a positive note or you take it on a negative note. Me as a former player, and I don't like saying, I always feel like something's going to happen. And, I don't even know how to explain it. Even last year, when they finally signed Aaron Rodgers, and I like I said, I watched that Hard Knock show. I had even an inspiration, renewed feeling. Man, they can go someplace. Maybe this is the year. And most fans, they think this is going to be the year. As a player, I'm realistic. And anytime I've ever done a broadcast, I've always started. Everything looks good on paper. Injuries is a big factor. There's so many things that can happen. Right now, from what I see, I can't see it. You know what I mean? But you got to give it time because it's a lot of football left and it's going to come by quick. But if you look at every team in the league, there's no sure thing. There's a lot of question marks. So I think these next 4 games are going to be telling of the direction the New York Jets are going to go in. And if they can prove that they can win these games, because some of them games they're probably not supposed to win, and start proving that I didn't think they were going to win against Buffalo, but it can be happening, So I just don't know how to answer that question, where they're going to finish. But deep down, I've always felt like they're not the team you're going to be. I don't have that feeling. You know what I mean? There's some season, like if Aaron Rodgers would have been healthy and they were just firing on all cylinders. I mean, I look at Garrett Wilson right now. He had a mediocre year, but it was a good year with Wilson. And right now he's got Aaron. This shouldn't be. So it's still a lot of football left. So we'll see where it goes. But again, I have to give it time because Aaron Rodgers is not getting any younger. And so that time is going to be gone down the road. How long can he really play? And you only get so many opportunities. But it's just so hard to make that evaluation. And just the way they're playing right now and just the things that I'm seeing, I'm not seeing it, I don't know where they're going to be, whether they're going to get to the playoffs. I know they're capable. If you base it on what the teams are doing now with injuries in that whole division, Buffalo, Miami, the Patriots, certainly, they can be beaten. And I know just football in itself. I mean, I looked at even last year, you look at Detroit. Detroit could have won the Super Bowl. They could have been there. Kansas City could have lost. They a player or two, They were down. Ravens was right there. Every one of those teams could have beat each other at a certain time, a play or two, and that's what happens. And I don't think it's about Patrick Mahomes anymore. They're winning with the team. You know what I mean? They're making a big deal with Patrick Mahomes, but there are certain plays that he didn't make, and teams are getting caught up, but they've been able to put together, and they get a turnover or something, or they don't even see a penalty or whatever. But that's football. But it's anybody's game. But I just don't see the Jets in a positive light right now, the way they are playing. But I'm going to give it a chance in these next 4 games. Because most coaches, they take it in quarters, every 4 games to see where they're at. But there's got to be a lot of improvement. And right now, even with injuries and certain things I'm not seeing, you don't think they could continue to play like this to be successful, do you?
No. The way we saw them play the first 4 the Patriots game, if they play like that every game.
But you got to look at the Patriots. But see, I can look at that. But the Patriots are not that good. Okay, true. But you got to beat those teams that are not that good. Denver's in that same boat. You got to come and play the good teams, the Buffaloes and the Minnesotas and the Green teams, because that's what you're going to be facing when you get to the Super Bowl or playoffs.
That's facts.
Yeah, that's where I'm looking at. I don't see them being that type of team if they continue to play the way they are. We keep hoping. We thought it was going to be that way. If Aaron Rodgers would have stayed healthy, the defense was playing. I believe they could have been that way if Aaron would have stayed healthy because the defense was playing. But right now, the defense is not playing up to the caliber. They're okay, but it could be better.
I mean, I'm hoping, we see a shift, right? I'm hoping these guys start playing to what I think the majority of us believe on paper is
Yeah.
their potential. But like you said, man, on paper they can look as good as they want to. We talked about this. The Jets have won the off-season championship for the last couple of years, and it comes down to getting on the field and actually putting freaking skill to the field. We got to see it,
Yeah.
and I don't know if we've seen that yet. So I hope.
I
I'm
think they're going to
hoping
get there. I really believe they'll get there because they have to. They're professionals.
they have to. 100%.
This is business.
100%.
At some point, you have to. Otherwise, certain heads are going to start rolling. And believe me, if they don't start continuing, hey, your solid job might be on the line. So,
100%.
100%.
100%.
So everybody's questionable at this point. So I just wish I was privy to the information of talking to the guys so you can properly evaluate them. And I haven't even seen them, even from a television aspect. I only saw bits and pieces of the first game. I was at the game, didn't see any of the game until the last part of the field goal was going back and forth a little bit. And that both teams sucked, but you can't play this way in the NFL and expect to win.
No, 100%.
But if you have a division that's topsy-turvy with players like that, the Jets have a good enough chance than anybody because the other teams are not playing very well. And right now, that division, right, other than, they got Josh Rosen at the Buffalo, the Jets, that's wide open for the Jets right now, They should be able to win that division.
No, 100%.
But, like I said, there's a lot of buts, and that's what you have with the Jets. And I hate to say it. I mean, I don't think they're cursed or anything like that. You either put a good product on the field, and somehow they failed to do that, and especially on a consistent and a long-term basis. That's just fact.
Well, Wesley, we've now gone to this is the longest show I think I've ever done for the Hangar Hangout. I mean, this is
because I talk too much. That's the problem.
No. Again, you put a lot of wisdom out there. You were able to go ahead and give detailed responses. I loved it. The group has loved it. I mean, we got 140 still hanging out with us here, and it's 10 in Central Time frame. It's 11 in the Central and the East Coast. So. I appreciate your time, man. I really do, Wesley. I mean, tell the people, man, like where they can go ahead and get more Wesley content. I'm going to be definitely calling you again.
You can call me anytime. I know my wife was peeping her head in there like.
Yep, I just saw her. That's why I'm like, my wife did the same thing. My wife literally just walked behind. She was just like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like,
I don't know if you saw the door, but that door just opened up. Like, what are you doing? And she always makes jokes about it. You always say it's, because there are some guys there on a limited basis time-wise, and there's some that go over or whatever. You always say it's out. It's going to go longer than that. But I didn't expect this. But stuff happens, I don't have to get up with kids tomorrow, so that's a plus.
That's a win.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you again, Wesley. Again, everybody in the chat, I appreciate you guys hanging out with us at the Hangar tonight. Man, Wesley, this was awesome.
Oh, and I appreciate that. And I hope you can keep Abdul Salam in the mix. He should be in that ring of honor. And here's another guy who's been confined to a wheelchair, had a major stroke. And I was talking with his wife. They still don't know why he can't walk or whatever, just getting diagnosis. I have so many friends, but I mean, I got guys like Pat Leahy, I think should be in that ring of honor, Randy Rasmussen, Kenny O'Brien, Richard Todd, Mickey Schuler. I mean, I can name Richard Casser, Jerome Bar. Many people. I don't know how they go about voting. Marvin Powell. There's so many guys, but Bobby Jackson made this shirt, and it's the Sack Exchange shirt. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a blank one for Abdul Salam. It wouldn't be a Sack Exchange if he wasn't in there. You know what I mean?
Right.
He was good in his own, but doesn't get the play that he really needs. So I'm here supporting that right now.
Man, we appreciate you. Listen, man, you have a good night. You go ahead and spend some time with the wife. I don't want her popping her head back in again.
I'm going to get beaten because of you. I'm
I'm getting one too. She's still standing over here looking at me.
Yeah. All right. Well, you have
a good night, Wesley.
And I'm going to try to get some relaxing because, man, at the end of the day, every day with these injuries that I have, I keep telling, and I haven't even told you half of them, I just need to lay down. Every day. But like I said, I'm glad for the grace of God I can get up and do certain things, but there's days I'm hurting, bro. And I never thought about football doing this to me, but I'm also getting old too. Father Time catches up to you.
It catches all of us.
Yeah. But you have a wonderful evening, and I really appreciate it. And I really mean this sincerely. You can call me anytime, 24/7. Connor will tell you that. Connor will tell you that.
I'm going to hold you to that, Wesley. I'm going to hold you to that.
You can hold me anytime, bro.
Good night. You have a good one.
Take care.
All right, y'all. That is Wesley Walker, Jets legend. That was awesome. That was awesome. I mean, again, I think this is the longest hangout we've ever had. You've all been chilling in here with us, man. You guys are sick. I know most of you guys are on the East Coast. It's about to be 11:13. It's 11:13 right now, so I know you're tired. But I'm not going to keep you guys up much longer. We're here. We've arrived. I said it before. We're doing a giveaway tonight, right? In honor of having a legend, Wesley Walker, in the building, talking Jets football for us, Jets wide receiver. I wanted to go ahead and do a giveaway, and it made more sense to go ahead and give away a rookie autographed jersey of one Garrett Wilson, who is currently our number one wide receiver. Listen, I know he started off slow. I think a lot of us have kind of seen it. We've all been bothered by it, a little annoyed by it. But I think watching that interview he did that Rich Cimini kind of misquoted earlier today kind of breaks down that, like, he's frustrated too, and he's looking for ways to also get better. You bring in a guy like Davante Adams, and I think the majority of us are pumped up about what that can look like. I think you're talking about a combination of a Davante Adams as your 1A. You got a guy like Garrett Wilson in your 1B. I think he's going to go ahead and only benefit from that. Another one of those situations where you bring in a Tyron Smith to teach Olu Fashanu. You bring in an Aaron Rodgers to teach Jordan Travis. You bring in a guy like Davante Adams so freaking Garrett Wilson can go ahead and learn from a dude that's been doing it at a high level for so long. That is win, 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 win across the board. I wholeheartedly believe the Jets are going to go ahead and get this done. I've gotten to that point now where if it includes Reddick, a second and a third, just get it done. I don't think it will cost that much, but it's a exciting time, man. You bring in a guy like Davante Adams to this roster right now with Aaron Rodgers. I think you automatically start to see that connection of Rodgers and Allen Lazard, but with an elite playmaker of a Davante Adams. So that should be fun and, of course, scary for our opponents. But I digress. Without further ado, we had 17 entries tonight in terms of the giveaway, the Garrett Wilson giveaway. Let me go ahead and just do this here real quick so everybody's seeing it. Boom. Love you, baby. Ultimately, the 17 entries go to Infrared Jets, Knob Deep, Jason Edwards, Wolf of Gotham, Vero Beach, New York Jets, E Boogie 156, Sharp Instincts, Stack, Sharp Instincts, DA 411 on New York Sports, aka VR, Sharp Instincts again, Dano Jets, Sharp Instincts again, who literally bought in with a $20 super chat, which is why he has 4 entries. Marcus Santiago, Miguel Padilla, proud New York Jets fans, Miguel Padilla. Miguel Padilla has 2 because, of course, he had 2 super chats as well. I want to thank the channel members who've been rocking with me with the Gunny's Fire Team. I really appreciate you guys. You guys were all entered as well. Even though no super chats were needed, you guys raised your entry because you guys are our channel members. This was an awesome one. So without further ado, because I want to go to bed, I have work in the morning. I know most of y'all do too. We're going to go ahead and spin this bitch. And the winner needs to be in the chat. So once the winner is called, you have to be in the chat right now and respond that you're here, right, in order for you to go ahead and win. If not, I will spin it again and spin it again until the individual who wins it is currently in the chat. But again, this is for a rookie autographed Garrett Wilson autographed jersey, certified, all the good stuff. It's from Pristine Auctions. Again, shout out to Gino the Italy Jet for being the supplier for Semper Gumby Consulting, aka myself, in terms of getting all this quality memorabilia to give out to fellow Jets fans. And again, this hangout was brought to you by Semper Gumby Consulting for all of your real estate needs, whether it's traditional real estate, investment real estate, property management. The website is in the description. Reach out to them. They operate out of Texas. They operate in Texas, California, and Florida right now. And they have the ability to go ahead and partner connections if you're in any other state. So again, shout out to Semper Gumby Consulting, your one-stop shop for everything real estate, for sponsoring tonight's hangout. Without further ado, I'm pressing the spin button. And again, you got to be in the chat to go ahead and pretty much claim your victory. So spin. Oh. Jason Edwards. Jason Edwards, congratulations. You are the winner. Are you currently in the chat? We have 140 individuals watching. But the majority of you are on Twitter. Unfortunately, if you're on Twitter, you can't participate in the giveaway. You guys need to jump on YouTube and do the YouTube thing. But Jason, I haven't seen you actually in in the actual chat all day. I don't think you're in here tonight, which really sucks. But Jason is one of the channel members who did have a free entry. But again, the rules are the rules for a reason. Jason going once. Jason going twice. Jason going 2.5x times. All right. Okay. Jason's not in the building. So, unfortunately for Jason, he cannot be the winner of tonight's giveaway. Sorry, Jason. You're probably going to hate this when you see this probably tomorrow, but you could have had Stacks like he's not here. Move on. All right. So, again, close that. Jason, unfortunately, is not the winner of tonight's giveaway. He will be taken out now as somebody that can go ahead and be selected. Jason wasn't there. We're going to spin it again. Boba Jet. I have friends named Jason. Oh. DA411 on New York Sports, aka VR. Are you still in the building? I know I saw you earlier in terms of the chat. You did pay a super chat to go ahead and enter your name. Did he leave? No way he left. All right, DA411 on New York Sports, aka VR, going once. VR going twice. You have got to be kidding me. He was here the whole time. All right, listen, I gotta do it again. Listen, I stated the rules are the rules for a reason. I wanted to make sure that it was fair across the board, and I'm sticking by my guns this time. Last time I had to chase down the winner. Not doing it. All right. Sorry, VR. Apparently you jumped off a little too soon, brother. So that's Jason Edwards down. That's that's VR down. All right. So then we're going to spin it again. Marcus Santiago. Marcus Santiago, are you in the building? You guys got to be kidding me. Like the rules were clear as day in the description. I'm just trying to go to bed. I just need an address of where I'm going to ship this thing out to. Are there only 5 people in here for real? Hold on, time out. It says there are 15 people currently watching on YouTube. Everybody else is in freaking oh, there he is. There he is. Marcus Santiago. I was about to say there's no freaking way you jumped off. I just saw a comment recently. Marcus Santiago, congratulations, my boy. You are the winner of the Garett Wilson rookie autographed jersey. I will be shipping this out to you tomorrow. Need you to do me a favor actually just now so I can see it right now. Where are you on Twitter or are you on Instagram? I need you to go ahead and shoot me a DM so I can go ahead and get your address, and then I will I will get that out to you literally tomorrow. I'll have a tracking number for you tomorrow. You should have it by the end of the week before the game kicks off on Sunday. Marcus Santiago, again, congratulations. I really do appreciate, what I'm saying, y'all support. Y'all riding with me, man. Got a couple more giveaways coming for the rest of the season. But again, Jason Edwards and VR, I don't know what to tell you guys. You know what I'm saying? You can't win if you're not here. That was the rule. Marcus stuck out, and the third time was the charm, and he wins the autographed jersey. So, Marcus, in the comments, just kind of leave if you're on Twitter or if you're on TikTok, if you're on Instagram, Facebook, you can see me on any one of those, and then shoot me a DM. I'm gonna need your address, brother, and who you want it to be. If it's Marcus Santiago, is it going to go to Marcus Santiago and your address, and I will have your tracking number for you tomorrow, my guy. So again, congratulations, and I appreciate y'all, man. Thanks for chopping it up with me, man. This was an awesome episode. We got to chop it up with Wesley Walker. Listen, I know right now we're stressed out about the Jets offense and how they're looking, but I really believe Aaron Rodgers is the greatest quarterback of all time in terms of pure ability, pure talent. And I think that this is one of the more talented rosters he's had with him to play with in his 20 years in the league. It sucks. I was pissed off on Sunday, just like you guys were, but I think they can turn this thing around. You're bringing a guy like Devontae Adams. I think you can only go ahead and get better in terms of offense. I'm pumped for the season, man. Y'all should be pumped for the season. We're 2-2 right now. If the season ended today, we're the 5th seed in terms of the playoffs. The AFC East, in my opinion, is in shambles. You got the Miami Dolphins battling injuries all across the board. They look like they might have to be battling more so for a top pick next year. The Buffalo Bills look great against 3 subpar teams, struggled against a team that they were on par with significantly. Look, the Broncos are the number 3 ranked defense in the NFL. The Jets lost to them at home in the rain, crappy weather. And honestly, Aaron Rodgers still brought us down to the field to kick a field goal to win it. And of course, Greg the Leg misses it. So a lot of things literally went wrong for the Jets in terms of self-inflicted wounds. And they lost that game by 1 point. Again, against the number 3 defense in the NFL. I'm not excusing it. It was disgusting. It was ugly. We deserve better. But when you look at the rest of the AFC East and how they got their cheeks clapped across the board, I think we can confidently say, like, all right, it was a bad week for the AFC East, but at least we showed up. At least we held our own. Again, it is what it is. I think the Minnesota Vikings game, it would be in Jets fashion for us to go into their building, or to to go to London, get that victory, and make them 4-1 coming back to the States. I'm gonna be dropping my prediction video for them on Thursday or Friday, one of those days. Be on the lookout for that. Tomorrow night, jump again on the channel. It's gonna be freaking the Run the Tape episode of Gunny and Mike. Mike the stat guy and I are gonna go ahead and break down the Denver Broncos tape, what went wrong, what could have gone right. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of see if improvement is going to be easier to get to or if we're screwed. So if your guys are hanging around tomorrow night, again, Run the Tape with Gunny and Mike. That's going to be hitting 7:30 Central PM. Hope to see you guys on the show. Again, Marcus Santiago, congratulations. I need your stuff, man, your address, so I can go ahead and get this out to you as soon as possible. Yeah, like I said, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Here, just make sure I go ahead and find a way to communicate with you, man, so I can get you your tracking number tomorrow when I drop this off at the post office. All right, y'all. It's late. I'm tired. I'm going to bed. Wife's been waiting on me for a little while now. Have a good night. And again, special shout out to Wesley Walker. I really appreciate him hanging out with us today in the hangar. And yeah, go Jets. I guess I'll see you guys next week.